Before we get to today's episode, I want to give a big shout out to our presenting sponsor of this podcast at Macrodosing. It is DatChat. People at DatChat really hold us down. DatChat is a social media app, and you can download DatChat right now for your iPhone, Android, and all app stores. Go to datchat.com/barstool to get more info and how to download that. DatChat is a dope new social networking messaging app, and a bunch of us here at Barstool are using it. It's a great place for us to interact with our fans, comment, like messages, and chat with people that are a part of your favorite podcast, and not good community building. I go on there all the time, especially when I'm faded. I get a couple glasses in. I just chatted up with everybody who's a fan of the podcast. I know a lot of us do as well. I seen Big T in there. I think Billy has a burner account on there. We're trying to figure out. Matter of fact, we have ongoing rate. If you can find Billy's burner on DatChat, I got an extra $100. I'll cash app you. Yeah, Billy, you like using it?
I do. I love using it. There's great conversations to be had on DatChat. And the best thing is, if you want it to, it can all disappear.
Yeah, and that's the best thing about it is there's no screenshotting. Screenshot attempts get blocked. You can't screenshot it. They go away. It's like it's our little community that we can thrive in, man. Go download the app right now. Make sure to join our our talk show page. Talk all the things you want about whoever. You can tag me. You can talk shit. I'm gonna pop right back at you. Go to DatChat. Download it for iPhone, Android, and the app stores right now, or go to datchat.com/barstool to get more info and download DatChat.
Hi, welcome to Macrodosing. I'm here. Billy PFT is out on a little bit of vacation. We're here with Big T in the studio, Mad Dog, and Avery, enjoying us as always.
You blew it. You had a chance you had a chance to start. Where is PFT? Like he's gone missing, and we don't really know where he is. But you blew it. You said on vacation. You blew it, man.
You know, with all the fake news and false conspiracy narrative out there, if we were to start another one, that would be a little disingenuous. As such an upstanding podcast ourselves, joined remotely by Arian and Coley as always. Welcome to Macrodosing.
Billy, tell us your thoughts on the direction of the show.
I'm just saying I would like to get more facts in the show. That's all I'm saying.
I wasn't quite.
So PFT is out. PFT is out, and we were discussing in a group what the topic was going to be today. Billy proposed Antarctica. We all haphazardly agreed, and we're gonna let Billy take the reins of this one because he wants more facts in the show. He wants PFT dead. Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna this is your baby today, Billy. You know what I'm saying? But first, before we hop into that, let's do a field check. Like my man PFT, possibly RIP. We don't know where he is. You know, just like a little check in, seeing how everybody's doing. Man, is everybody good today? Some current events. What's going on in the world of y'all?
I just went to my first punk concert over the weekend, and it was so awesome. Me and Avery went to PFT's concert at Toad's, and it was like one of the most fun nights I've had like since I graduated college. It was awesome.
What is it?
It's called Pup Punk, and it's PFT and a couple guys in our office. They have like a band together, and they perform live. And so me and Avery went to the show this weekend, and it was so awesome. And PFT is so good, and there were Macrodosians there. It was awesome.
Well, that's fire, man. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my weekend update.
Sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, I think they have more live shows than they have like songs recorded, like by a lot.
Do they have like, are they on like Spotify and shit?
No.
Oh,
They cover, well, yeah,
they
they cover songs, like famous
They have,
songs.
3 original songs or 4?
I think they're at 4 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite is My Girlfriend is Really Hot.
They're really good. They sell out places all the time. They're really, really good.
Yeah, they do. They do like mainly covers of Mr. Brightside. What else did they do? Stacy's Mom, like all of those classic.
A lot of 90s.
Early 2000s,
stuff.
like pop rock songs.
I see PFT always, you know, he plays guitar and you know, he does this stuff on the gram and on the internet. But he surprised me during the live show when he was playing whatever he played.
Rocky Top.
Yeah.
And then what was the Beatles song?
Blackbird.
Blackbird, that was me.
Oh yeah.
But but no, he surprised me because there's a lot of chord changes in there, and it's not easy to do unless you know what you know. He knows what he's doing. That's surprising. That's pretty dope. Big T, what you was on, man, this weekend?
Saturday I watched football all day, and then Sunday I did nothing.
Watch football all day.
Yeah. Well, then, so now that college football's over, I kind of had to. Sunday I went and did Christmas shit with my girlfriend. I kind of had to. I owed her that Sunday.
What is Christmas shit in the eyes of Big T?
We went to the Winter Village at Bryant Park. We went to the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. All that New York tourist bullshit.
You hated every second of it?
No, it's fine. I just hate crowds. Like, I love Christmas.
Fair.
Like, Christmas is I enjoy doing all that stuff. It's just the crowds are out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And on a Sunday night, it was everybody and their mother was there. So
It's a little early still, right? It's still December 6th for Rockefeller Tree crowds. That's
Brother,
it's the whole month.
the whole city of New York was there.
I tried to go to the lighting on Wednesday on the 1st. I think that's what it would be like being in a corral of cows. That was the worst thing ever. I didn't even get to see the tree. They didn't even let me see the tree.
Like a feedlot?
It was so bad. All of from 46th to 54th around-ish were all corralled, but the cars they didn't cut the streets off. So there were still cars going everywhere. I didn't even lay eyes on the tree. They just basically were saying, you got here too late. People got here at like 3 p.m. to see the tree. Yeah. So fuck off. So I didn't even I went all the way up there. I didn't even get to see the tree, so now I have to go back.
Yeah, one time, so when they do the ball drop down Times Square.
Yeah, that sounds like hell on earth.
Yeah, so I went there once, like in middle school. Just me and my buddies were just messing around. And the whole thing is they put you in these little corrals, basically just fenced in squares in the middle of the street. The only way you're getting all the way down to where the ball drops if you camp out like 2 or 3 days before.
Or if it's last year and it's de Blasio and it's just him and his wife get to be there by themselves.
No, because they shut it down.
Everyone else has to be inside.
They actually, it was actually interesting to go and just see how they did the crowd control and anti-terrorism stuff.
Do you remember that? Did you see that?
I saw, yeah.
It's just him and his wife in the middle of Times Square. That's shit dictators do.
Spa shit though.
Yeah, I kind of respect it.
It's like Kim Jong-un. This nigga was mad at people biting his style, so he banned.
Yeah, can't dress like him. No more trench coats.
Banned haircuts like his, the leather jacket, like
that's kind of fire. I mean, it's hella dictatorial.
That's so sick, though. Imagine that.
It's funny.
But if he's gonna do that shit, he totally deserves when he gets harassed in Central Park when he's walking around without a mask with his wife. And everyone's like yelling at him.
Rules for thee, not me.
And then they started throwing trash.
Hate to see that. I don't condone that. We don't condone throwing trash at football games or at Bill de Blasio.
They were throwing it onto his property. They canceled trash pickup. I think it was at sometime during the pandemic.
Yeah, I remember.
So everyone just started throwing trash in Gracie Mansion.
Hate to see it.
It's just
Jesus
ridiculous.
Christ. It was like, who else did that? Was it Chris Christie that had a private beach? Everybody was supposed to be in lockdown or whatever.
But the thing is, honestly, unfortunately, Chris Christie, doing that stuff in New Jersey, he got a little too much credit because it was New Jersey. Everyone thought it was kind of like mobbed up type stuff. Like he was just making mafia boss moves. So it was a little more acceptable because everyone thought he was like Tony Soprano, shutting down bridges.
Is it because he's Italian?
I don't even think he's Italian.
He's not Italian?
I don't think Chris Christie's Italian. Christie's a...
He's just fat. Wait. Wait, that was
Jesus Christ.
Whoa, the anti-Italian.
We were all thinking it.
That was spicy. That was spicy, man. Dog, goddamn.
Well, I just love that the parallel in her mind was he's not Italian, he's just fat.
It's like a pervert. I'm not pervert. I'm just Italian. Chris Christie, ethnicity. I mean, white.
Italian.
Italian.
Told you.
He's Sicilian.
Huh. That could.
And then his father is German, Scottish.
He would tell you that's not Italian. He would tell you it's very different.
Yeah. No, that's like de Blasio pretending he's Italian when he's Wilhelm. Do you know his real name's William Wilhelm?
What?
The third, yeah.
You're kidding.
Your real name.
No, that
sounds like it'd be your
name.
That sounds like your real name.
No.
No, Billy's right. It's not Bill.
De Blasio's real name is
Warren Wilhelm.
Wilhelm, yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed to call yourself Bill de Blasio.
Yeah, and he was born in Boston.
God, remember when that guy thought he could be president? What a clown.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who think they can, and they
I
sure
think
can.
anybody can be president at this point. If you troll enough, you're good. You're good. I think you could be president.
He trolls himself though. Like, he's such a clown. He doesn't even troll other people. He just like inadvertently trolls himself. He's 6'5".
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Blasio 6'5"?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you win an election right there.
No, but like, speaking of Italian Chris's, Chris Cuomo also got fired from CNN.
Dunzo.
Yeah, like that was a
Hate to see it. We'll see you later, Chris.
What did he do? Why did he get fired?
dude. Basically, Andrew Cuomo was gonna try to run for president, I think, and then he just got hit with a bunch of cases.
I thought he was like
Chris got
snooping
involved.
around and like going backlogging information.
Chris,
Yeah, he
or
was he was trying
Chris
to help
was trying to
him,
help
Chris
his brother.
was right.
And
Yeah.
so,
using his platform at CNN.
Right.
yeah, so
How was he trying to help? What did he do?
advising Andrew as an unpaid staffer.
he had more of a
his-
he just had more of a hand in the sexual relations that Governor Cuomo had than people previously thought.
CNN said in a statement, quote, Chris Cuomo was suspended earlier this week pending further evaluation of new information that came to light about his involvement with his brother's defense. We retained a respected law firm to conduct the review and have terminated him effective immediately. While in the process of that review, additional information has come to light. Despite the termination, we will investigate as appropriate.
So he was helping his brother out with sexual assault allegations.
Correct. But it
I'm
was
confused.
somehow it somehow had something to do with his job at CNN.
It was against journalistic integrity type stuff.
Or are they talking about like he was showing bias towards his brother, not reporting it, stuff like that?
Yeah,
I
think-
believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, how could you go against your brother? I mean, even if he's a piece of shit, that's tough. You know what I mean? That's tough.
Right. If that were truly, I don't think that's why he got fired. I know that's what.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it, but
If that were truly the conflict of interest, like that's on CNN for not pulling him off any of the story. Like it's obviously a conflict of interest. Like you just pull them off. But I saw something that was reported, I guess alleged, not reported, that he himself was about to be under investigation at CNN for not assault. What's the word I'm looking for?
harassment.
Sexual misconduct.
Yeah,
I just keep seeing, like, the verbiage just keep seeing it. CNN fired anchor Chris Cuomo less than a week after new information emerged about how he assisted his brother.
the head of
New York Governor Andrew
CNN.
Cuomo.
Chris is coming out and saying that the head of CNN knew that he was helping out his brother and everything, and this is just like now they're deciding to act on it. But anyway, one thing that I know that many of our listeners have been requesting that we do an Epstein episode. We're currently, watching the Ghislaine Maxwell trial intently. If you are looking for a great source of information on that, go to Tracker Trial on Twitter. It's a Maxwell Trial Tracker Twitter account, and it has like some of the stuff. It seems to be all verified and posts a lot of the stuff that's going on in the trial.
Okay.
I'm just trust me. Avery can back me up.
Like I said, it seems to be.
Well, how does Avery know? Why? How is Avery in the courtroom?
I follow it too, and it's somebody whoever's behind it. Like, I'm not saying it's not like they're not in the courtroom or whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems like somebody who's definitely a little biased. Right?
Yeah.
They're not about like journalistic integrity. They want the people want the truth, that type shit. Like I feel you, but let's take it for what it is. It's an anonymous account that seems to be involved in the case somehow.
Yeah. But anyway, it's very interesting. If some of this stuff is true and like the fact that it isn't more widespread reported on, it isn't widely spread.
Isn't being widely reported on.
Yes, exactly.
When I hear people say that, like, what are people? Do you think people aren't talking about? Like, I feel like it's pretty reported on.
People.
Do you think it should be like the number one story? Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, it's tough because the trial is not public, right? So it's literally it would just be speculation. A lot of like the Rittenhouse case, right? There's media in the courtroom, so it's easier to report on the daily goings on. So I guess Like I don't like yeah, I heard that too. Like, people were like nobody was talking about it, but it's like, what can you say other than it's going on?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah,
Eddie.
the fact that, like, for example, Alec Baldwin's been named in the case, and Alec Baldwin's big, story has been reported on widely, and that sort of isn't being talked about at all is a little fishy.
People are
How is it?
Again, it's not verifiable, so how could it be reported on?
Well, people are basically saying is people like whoever runs the tracker trial, people like that are saying that the world elite are people who are running these CNNs, Foxes, all of those news outlets, and they are trying to silence the Maxwell trial because they are the people who are in the black book and are involved in it. So CNN and Fox and,
that's
NBC
juicy. That's juicy.
aren't reporting on it on like their daily news cycle because there are people within those like elite organizations at the top, someone like a Murdoch or someone like that who have stock
Murdoch
in this
wasn't
case.
getting invited to shit.
Well, but like people,
no one liked him.
people,
He's not getting invited anywhere.
people as elite and rich as Murdoch
Oh,
are,
for sure.
are the
but
ones are the ones
in my-
silencing the news networks because they don't want to be outed.
in my mind, it's like that's why Epstein was killed. So why would they keep her around if that was why he was killed? That's where their conspiracy like falls apart at the seams in my eyes. Like it can't be both. It can't be they killed one dude and they're letting this other chick go to trial. Like that's not how the world elites work.
So you're saying unless she gets off too,
But even if she gets off, like unless she's killed walking out of the courtroom, I don't see why she'd still be around at this point. Like
Well,
I don't get why he was killed immediately in jail, but they're letting her go through all this unless they think because she's a woman and a foreigner. She's not from this country, right?
No, she's British.
No, she's
Yeah,
prison.
because she's a foreigner and a woman, people just won't believe her. Like I feel like all of this is already extremely believable, so that part's done. And B, I just can't see a world where they kill the main guy, but they like this would be like letting Eva Braun run Germany after the fact. Like, oh, she's probably cool. Like, no, that's not how this works.
People are saying too that there are news outlets. I forget. I think it might be MSNBC. One of top news outlet is trying to frame her as possibly a victim as well.
Yeah, Bloomberg.
Bloomberg, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was Bloomberg put out a article that said, is Ghislaine Maxwell really a victim herself?
So I think that's what they're trying to do. And again, we don't know what's being said in the court, obviously, but I think there's a portion of people, again, Bloomberg knew Epstein, and so who knows what is going on behind closed doors, but there could be
like
people,
Epstein knew everybody.
Right.
Everybody. Literally everybody.
But I think more people had different, like, deeper relationships with him compared to others. So I think there's a lot of people saying some news outlets are trying to protect Ghislaine by saying things like, oh, is she a victim herself? So who knows? I don't know.
Anyone heard of this guy before all this shit went down?
Who?
Who, Epstein?
Epstein.
2004, there was
I certainly
weird
had
stuff.
never heard of him before. But it seems like he knew every famous person to ever live.
I think that's a thing, though. Like, he was just in the mud with her. Or not in the mud.
What did he do? How did he have the money that he did?
That's where it gets weird. It gets really freaking weird. There's
Isn't he like a professor or some shit?
So he was a high school teacher.
Yeah.
For a brief moment. And his college records are sketchy. Like, we don't know if he actually had a college degree, but he ended up, from being a high school teacher in a high school on the Upper East Side in New York City, ended up working for one of his students' parents, who was a very
the Wexners, right?
I'm not exactly sure, but very well connected banker. And then he started making connections with people like the CEO of Victoria's Secret.
That's Wexner.
That's Wexner. And for example, that guy actually owned his giant townhouse on the Upper East Side. Yeah. So that it's weird.
He was a financer.
Yeah.
Is basically the long story short of it. He would just manage people's finances, and then the billionaires would pay him millions to do that.
For example, he brokered the sale of a private equity group to a larger firm and ended up with like $10 million. Just little deals like that, which I know $10 million is huge, but in that world, when it's a $100 million deal, like that's tiny compared to. It's very interesting how this all sort of shakes out.
Because my guy had his own island, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, high school teachers ain't getting paid like that. I was in the wrong
He went
profession.
from high school teacher to the banking industry, and
Yeah.
from there went into financing. And if
Yeah.
it says he started in 76, so if he hit in New York City at the right time, he was running everyone's money. Like, he controlled the money. So if he controlled, the best way for me in any conspiracy theory is follow the money. And if you follow the money in every scenario, and he's the guy at the end, he's the leprechaun with the pot of gold, like, yeah, I could see him getting involved in a lot of different avenues.
It's crazy, man. I'm definitely I'm excited. Ooh, is that bad?
But
I'm excited to see how this shit unfolds because there's been so much shit left in the dark, right?
No, you should be excited because there's a bunch of pieces of shit in Hollywood that should get exposed for this.
Also, what is she charged with?
Well, it just came out that she may have given oral sex to George Clooney at a private event. That was
Not
She's
illegal.
not getting charged
That's
criminally
not what
for
I
that.
asked.
I know, but
Super legal.
I just wanted to get that in there.
She's
That's why you need to follow Trial Tracker.
It has to be one of the more legal things brought up in the case.
Why would that even get brought up? Like,
I don't know, but it's just crazy.
I think the
Well,
craziest
that
thing
is
that
technically illegal in some states.
one of the
Oral
craziest
sex?
things I saw.
Yeah. It's on the book. I think it's illegal in Tennessee.
Nah, I can see that.
Well, shit. I should be locked up. I went to college.
They released a 58-page manual that Epstein and Maxwell gave to their house servants.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was weird.
It basically like outlined what they have to say to guests as they come in, what they have to wear. It was beyond crazy. So I don't know. This is all just, I can't wait. Like Arian said, I can't wait for more to come out about this because all these people should go down no matter who's on the list.
Big T, to answer your question, she's getting charged basically with being an accomplice. So she has 4 accusers that are charging her, and it's enticement of a minor to travel, transportation of a minor with intent to engage in illegal sex acts, sex trafficking, and conspiracy, which are related to the other accounts.
Yeah, part of why it's not as fun to joke about this is it's kind of gotten buried that this is all a child sex trafficking charge.
Yeah.
Like, even with Epstein, like, everyone wants to look at the elites and stuff like that, and the conspiracies are for sure fun. But at the end of the day, if children were trafficked in illegal sex acts, like, that's as bad as it gets, and these people suck.
Some of this is so
absolutely.
fucked up.
By the way, 18 states have laws banning oral sex, but they're unenforceable after a 2003 Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah.
So it sounds like until 2003, though.
Yeah, in 2003. But they found out it was unenforceable because of
yeah, I mean, they weren't
it's
enforcing them
unconstitutional,
before
yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
yes.
Shout out to sodomy laws. Oop. I think we should replace, since college football's over, we should replace the Tennessee Minute with the Epstein Minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say find one weird law from every state.
We can do that anyway. But
Our Epstein episode is going to be no less than 5 hours.
Yeah, I think
it's got to be broken down, because
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting.
I think we
Wild.
should do one on Epstein and one on Maxwell.
well, yes.
Like one on the Maxwell trial.
Well, also we should do something on Maxwell's father,
yeah.
who got killed on a yacht. So, Ghislaine Maxwell's father was a huge media tycoon. Was apparently, fell off his yacht in the middle of somewhere and died, like in very weird circumstances.
In the middle of
But-
somewhere and that.
But
that happens.
he got his cause of death was a heart attack, and then it led to
Yeah.
drowning. But some
Yeah.
people don't think that's actually what happened.
It's
Um,
weird.
No, our Epstein episode is going to be quite intense.
Mhm.
That one we might genuinely stay on topic for.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna go crazy there, but
Probably not.
Probably not. But
Probably
that
not.
one's hard. That one's just so interesting. It's hard to. It's everything is connected in one of those cases.
It's weird. And then like Bill Barr
I don't know who that is.
was recorded letting Epstein off, saying that he was in intelligence back in 2004.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
That was like the weirdest thing in the case. Like, I found a 2004 article that said Bill Barr was just like, now let me confirm this. We're doing due diligence.
That's good. Good job, Billy.
Due diligence.
Even though
basically,
you did already say it.
saying that he they couldn't prosecute him back in 2004 because they were told by federal, like, he was in intelligence. That's all they said. But crazy stuff.
Probably we might have to do a fucking Enes Kanter episode, Enes Freedom, episode at this point. You want to talk CIA ops?
What's he
He actually
with?
just loves America. I mean, the State Department did prevent him from getting deported to Turkey, and
Yeah, I wonder what kind
Killed.
of deal was made to get that done.
He's doing way too much though. He's
yelling at Jeremy Lin. He's yelling
like
in California about what's wrong with China. Like, he's got way too much dip on his chip.
That shit threw me, bro. He's just like he's reaching. He's just doing a lot of reaching, man. He's a lot of like conservatives gassing him though. Like
you want to talk fake news, Big T. Your boys over at Fox put NBA star on his.
He's an NBA star. He's an NBA star.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
Has he made an All-Star team?
No, he stinks. He's the 1 percentile for finishing at the rim. 99% of the league is better than him at finishing at the rim.
He's probably an average, maybe slightly below average center.
Correct. He's slightly
and it's not like I mean I probably do think I could get him one-on-one, but like this is no disrespect to his skill set. It's just comparative to like actual NBA stars. He's not. It's just demonstrable. It's not true.
He's a 14 point a game guy for most of his career.
And he did that while
shot 59% in 2018.
Percentages for centers should not be a thing, but you guys are now defending Enes Kanter, Enes Freedom. I'm sorry, Enes Freedom. As being an NBA star. I just want to let you know where you're doing right now.
Not a star.
You said he was a star.
No.
Don't backtrack.
You
said he was a star.
Because y'all said he's not a star. Sure, he's not. He's a very recognizable name. 14 points a game for a lot of.
He won't stop talking. That's why he's recognized.
He averaged a double in New York. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Fucking
people don't talk about that, Avery.
Pennywise is a recognizable name. Anything can be recognizable in America. All you gotta do is go buy.
Jeremy Lin's a recognizable name, and he stinks.
He was a good ball player for a little while, though.
He was not for exactly 10 days.
No. He had a good season with the Hawks. He had a good season with the Hawks. People don't talk about that.
People don't actually, and they shouldn't. But you're trying to defend Enes Kanter Freedom. Is it
his full name is Enes Kanter Freedom now? Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I'm gonna respect his. I'm gonna respect his name. You know what I'm saying? Like when Muhammad Ali changed his name from Cassius Clay, he wanted people to respect it. When Meta World Peace wanted to, I respect people how they want to be called and how they want to be addressed. So I'm not gonna disrespect him like that. But because it's not an all-star.
I want nothing but the best for Enes Freedom.
Yeah, me too. He's got to pump the brakes on the banging on social justice. Like I don't understand. Like, his argument is just illogical. His argument is it's not that bad here, so stop complaining. And that's the dumbest shit you can say.
I mean, we gotta give him the benefit of the doubt on just the psychological impact of having a regime openly trying to. Like that's got to be a little.
I don't. If Arian has the same shit going on, doesn't he?
If your premise. No. But bro, if your premise is he believes in freedom and he believes in humanity, right? He's a humanitarian. Then an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere, and so the degree in which the injustice is taking place, that's where he is asserting his authority. He's saying this isn't enough of an injustice comparatively to people getting gunned down on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He's not the arbiter of what is or isn't justice, right? He should try to recognize or empathize with people who feel like they're being.
But I feel like he specifically, because he has such experience with authoritarian regimes, he sees this as closer to his heart than other injustices. Which
he told the whole country to shut up and dribble. Like
I'm not knocking his.
I know. I actually haven't looked into a lot of. What exactly? I know he's been basically like calling out Jeremy Lin, like wearing shoes against LeBron.
Yeah, which is I'm not totally against criticism against LeBron and China, right? I'm not like I don't disagree wholeheartedly, but there's a way to do it and not be divisive. This is my problem with political pundits in general. Is like you claim to want to have a better country, but yet you motherfucking everybody that disagrees with you, rather than like having an open, honest dialogue. And you can get a hold of him on the phone if you really wanted to, but calling him out publicly, it's just messy. If you really want actual conversation, go holler at him. Go talk to him.
All I know is he had 9 and 15 the other night, 4-6 shooting. Sounds like a pretty good night to me.
His girlfriend is a Rockefeller. Like, I don't know.
Word?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's like hard to like take all of this information and then be like, look who you're literally in bed with.
All
like,
right.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so remember we were just saying everything's connected? Well, I just was on Trial Tracker a second ago when we were talking about it, and they connected like the Rockefellers and Epstein like served on some of the same boards together and were actually very good friends. So let's see which Rockefeller he's dating and if it's this person's daughter.
We disavow. I have a question for you guys. How do you guys hold your phones? Do you hold your pinky under your phone?
Yeah.
Depends on the angle.
If I'm laying down, I have my pinky under it. I don't think I do if I'm...
So you guys need to stop because Frankie Borelli here, who had elbow surgery, he had elbow surgery, and his doctor said a majority of it is in relation to that. To holding your pinky under your phone, putting the pressure on your pinky.
I'm still.
Well, his was also regular. Like he holds regular cameras a lot too, especially doing all the feature reviews. Like it was more than just phone with Frankie. We all hold our phones like that. There's not like a mass outbreak of elbow surgery going on.
I guess you do make a good point, but I do like it did change my perception of like the pulling on your pinky can actually really affect your elbow.
I would venture to. Yeah, I propose that I would rather risk elbow surgery than risk a cracked screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep holding my pinky under that thing.
I mean, you've had enough surgeries now to the point that what's one more?
It's another one.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I
got 14. I'm cool off of 15. Unless it's like I take it back.
So wait,
anesthesia is probably the best drug that you can have. Like right before you knock out, anesthesia, that probably 30 to 45 seconds. That shit is euphoric. If that's what it's like right before you die, man, I'm
yeah. What
okay.
the hell are you talking about? You told us you got an elective surgery just because you wanted the drugs.
You keep
right.
You talk a scarily amount about morphine. I'm just saying.
Morphine is fucking amazing.
I know exactly.
What? I'm an advocate for safe drug use. Like 100%. Like if you can do it responsibly, I think it's a good thing. There's a whole book written on this. Actually, there was a professor. I think I don't know where he's from, but he was talking about how. I'm talking about all drugs too. I'm talking about heroin, crack, all of that stuff.
Oh, the Columbia professor?
Yeah, there you go. If you moderate your drug usage, it can be healthy. Like it's the overconsumption of it that actually is the detrimental part to it, which is obvious, right? It's kind of self-evident. But I'm not against. That's why I'm for the legalization of all drugs. I think if you regulate it, I think if you educate people on it, you can have. Because I know people I know crack is like this taboo, you know what I'm saying? But I know people who have smoked crack like casually, but it didn't affect their lives. It didn't derail them. It can go that way for sure. But just like I know people who are social drinkers, right? They have a drink every now and then, it's okay. But I know people who are fucking alcoholics and it ruined their life. And every drug, except for weed, I've never met a pothead who's like derailed their life. They just get really like cool. Other than that, like every other drug, there's a spectrum, right? And I think the more you educate the public on it, the more people can have responsible drug use, because I do think there's positive parts to having drug use, like awareness, self-care. I just think it's a good thing rather than a bad one. We just have to regulate.
I mean, there's also positives in like we're not clogging up the prisons by treating these people as prisoners, and instead, when it gets out of control, or if they can't handle it, they go into like therapy.
Clinics. Like
instead of jail, where it just devolves. All like the ripple effects on society are where I think it's most beneficial. Like the individuals being able to do whatever, definitely cool. It was New York that just had the first safe injection site open up.
Yeah.
Or two.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That's
you can
fire.
go and they'll provide you with doctors injecting it and clean needles and Narcan and everything.
That's beautiful. I'm in the right place. Well,
wait, doctors will be doing the injections?
Or I don't, if doctors, nurses. It's not going to
So,
be
like,
random people on the street.
Of what?
So you bring your drugs to them, and they're like,
Is this real?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's
You can also smoke crack.
Hang
there.
on.
It's
common in
helpful.
Europe.
It's supposed to be
Definitely.
so that
It's
Amsterdam, I know for sure.
Are my taxes paying
Spain-
for this?
probably.
Only yours.
I'm
They
about-
only take
I'm
yours.
might
about
be
to have a
private.
conniption.
Time out. You're against your taxes paying for safe and legal drug use? This is
Yes.
This
Yes.
is libertarian. Wow.
Right
Why?
now, it's already paying for those people. You understand that?
I'm not even anti like legalizing most drugs. Like I'd be fine with most of them. But when you're taking tax dollars and paying for people to go get injections of what, heroin?
It's supposed
Right, but you
Yeah, count me
understand
out. Yes, I will be.
Wait,
I will go on the record as being anti.
supposed to
Big T,
keep them
the
safe.
full theory, Big T, is not like we're just going to pay for people to get high all day. It's going to end up being cheaper in the long run, because right now your tax dollars are paying for mostly arresting and incarcerating these people, which is a far heavier bill to foot than just making sure they're safe. And not, would you rather them jamming up your ERs because they're using pretty
Also,
needles?
did you see they put this across the street from a daycare?
Answer his question, because that was a very valid point
Yeah,
that I
Big
would love
T.
to hear a rebut.
I don't think that one problem necessitates using taxpayer dollars to give people heroin.
Big
I
T.
don't,
Actually,
I don't think that's the solution.
actually, how I like to think of it, Big T, because there is that, like I don't want to pay for this.
I don't think that's the solution.
But Big T, you know what you are paying for? For them not to. This is actually a really fucked up way to justify it. But it's like, at least you're not walking to work and they're shooting up on the street right in front of you, because that does happen around their office.
If that's the most baseline way to think about it,
Yeah.
and in the unhumanitarian way.
Exactly. Well, if I'm trying to convince Big T to like
so if you
see
want
some
to,
benefits,
if you want to convince Big T, pull on his heartstrings, right?
Yeah.
The big old heart of yours, Grinch.
I don't think it's
Bro,
humanitarian.
you don't think Jesus Christ would want to help somebody that is addicted to a substance
Yes.
and wean them off of it?
I don't think the way to do that is giving them a place to go do it freely.
But there is,
Okay,
because-
what is a good solution of getting
I
somebody
don't
off
know.
of
I'm
heroin?
not.
I'm telling you, there's massive research that says it's even considered bad. Bad. There's a better word for it. It's detrimental to a person who's addicted to a substance to just cut them off a cold turkey. It can actually
Definitely.
cause
Kill 'em
like
on the spot.
really bad health problems. So the best way to do it is to give people an outlet and wean off the dosages. That's literally how what the medical
Right, and-
literature says.
Like but these safe injection sites aren't like, they're not like couches, beanbag chairs. Like, it's not like you're laying out like they're not playing Pink Floyd.
Oh no,
like,
I looked at it. They put one across the street from a daycare in Harlem. That's
Yeah,
where we
I
should
mean,
have this.
but also then you don't
there's-
have needles on the street.
I don't know that there's like a lot of blocks in the city that aren't across from a school of some point. So I understand they do that to fearmonger.
There's gun stores, there's liquor stores. Like, you don't give me that argument. Come on,
Right.
That's a bad
But
one.
It's supposed to.
it's a much cheaper, if your big point, which it was immediately, was your tax dollars, this is a far cheaper way to use them than it's already being used at the end of, like, proven, signed, sealed, delivered.
Aside from the fiscal advantages of this, morally, I don't see how you're opposed to this, because people do drugs. We will agree on that. And if we agree that they do drugs, we agree that they need some kind of guidance or aid in mitigating that drug usage. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, I don't. I don't think you think that.
You don't think I do think they need guidance. Yes.
Okay. Well, I thought you said you were for everyone just doing drugs
In
if they want
moderation,
to.
he said.
I am, but there are people who can curtail their alcohol usage, and they understand their body and they understand how not to let it affect their daily lives. But there are people who cannot, and they need help, and we have AA groups for that. We have stuff for that. You know what I'm saying? And so drug usage is along that same line, that line of thought. Is if you can smoke weed, you sit back and smoke weed and it doesn't affect your life. If you sit back and you shoot heroin, it doesn't affect your life, because I know people that have done this. Very anecdotal, but if that's the case, then you don't need help. But there are people who do need help. I don't see a problem with us helping people that need help. That's I guess that's the biggest point of contention, is I don't understand conservative thought. Is y'all are pro religion for the most part, right? And if you read Jesus's words, he would be the first person to help people.
I think
the sick,
there are
the poor, and the
ways
needy.
to try to help people that are not this.
Well, Big T, you know
Okay, so now
What? I still don't know what you're.
Big T, you know what happens
let's
a lot
take
of
this
these.
to its logical conclusion, though.
Let's do that.
So now we have a designated spot where drug users are congregating. What is to
whoa. I don't accept that premise.
Why?
It's not congregating.
Yeah,
right?
it's not.
Well, it's a place we know they're going.
I think you're thinking of it as like a party, right?
No. Just let me I
Okay,
understand your contention with that verbiage, but a place we know that drug users are going.
Yes.
7-Eleven.
What is
any?
No. Yes. You're making my point. What is to prevent now, like the drug dealers being like, oh, we now know exactly where the people who are doing drugs are going. We're just going to go there now.
I mean, there are authority figures there. Like you can't just set up shop.
But I mean, we know in the general vicinity of where people are going to be.
We have data on this, right? This is it. In a lot of the West Coast states, right, marijuana usage is legal, right? They have dispensaries. There isn't an amalgamation of drug dealers waiting outside to sell weed to people who can go inside and get weed. It doesn't make any sense logically for that drug dealer. Does that make sense? That's basic economics. How your supply and demand.
Have these been done elsewhere?
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah. It's all
It's
over
the first in the U.S. It's the first. But what I will say to that is the idea of needle exchange is not new in this country. My father specifically ran needle exchange vans in Boston when I was a teenager, and the science behind the amount of people who are like I think there's also this negative connotation with addicts in general that like they fucking love being addicts. Like all they want to do is drugs. A lot of these people don't want to keep doing it. These needle, like you got to look at this less as, oh, this is a sick place for drug users to go shoot up whenever they fucking want, as it is public health. Like this is a public health issue. More of these people will end up getting clean and sober and on the fast track to what we perceive as a better life through places like this.
I hope that happens.
Homelessness, right? Homelessness. This will directly affect homelessness. This will directly affect veteran homelessness, which conservatives should be beaten off to, right? That's another whole nother conversation. But veterans with PTSD often turn to drug use because one, they don't have the medical the aid that they need, so they that's what they do, and it provides people that safe. I think people think people are just drug addicts that they're just born fucking bank robbers and thefts, and that's not what happens. These are good people who deal with hardships and don't know how to deal with it mentally, and they turn to other things, and this is what they turn to. So having a place for them, I just don't see like I don't know, like it's just mind-boggling to me how people don't want to help people. Like this, what the fuck are we here for?
I hope that all the things you just said happen. I'm not convinced they are going to.
Also,
but they have. Like that's the needle exchange thing isn't new. Needle exchange isn't new, and that's basically the premise behind these safe injection sites, just on a larger scale. And there's plenty of data to back that up. Like this isn't new. It's just people like yourself immediately jump to, well, I'm not paying for that, which is like you're already paying more to incur. Like every time I see how long or when someone serves like a 5-year jail sentence, it's like putting them through Yale twice. Like at what point are we just like, well, maybe this isn't the best avenue?
And then they'll also say, I'm not paying for student debt relief. But it's like that would directly stimulate the economy if we have all these people with all this extra dough. What are they going to spend it on? Shit in the economy. I don't understand. We can get into a long ass tangent about that, man. But if anybody has anything else to add about that, Big T, you want to have the last word on?
I hope this helps so many people. It's not even funny.
Big T, it's also a little bit of a Big T. I
hope every person who is going to this doing heroin stops doing heroin. That is not what I think is going to happen.
I don't.
Yeah, we didn't say every person would stop.
Yeah,
there is the little bait and switch element, which is another, if you want to be nihilistic, sometimes they get them to go to these safe shoot up spots, and then they try to switch them onto either narc or what's the replacement?
The box.
Yeah. And they'll start giving them the stuff so they stop wanting to use heroin, and then they just start going to the places to get not the Narcan, but the
Suboxone.
Suboxone. And then they end up getting off the stuff. So then you get the people not shooting up in the street, they're shooting up there. They actually end up getting help there because they're all going there.
And it's safe amounts, and it's
monitored. There won't be as many, an episode we really should do is fentanyl. Because that shit in
There'll
the
be drug testing.
Fentanyl scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Hang on, they're gonna have drug testing
No,
at this
like-
place. That seems a little counterintuitive.
No. Like
So they know
testing the drugs if it's not.
Oh, okay.
laced.
We're just making sure the heroin's safe. Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Well, would you rather have safe heroin or fentanyl-laced heroin, Big T?
There are. If you go to the doctor and you go under for a procedure, you're taking heroin. You know that, right?
Did you get your wisdom teeth out?
No.
Really?
If you ever anybody, so not Big T, any conservative named not Big T, if you go get a surgery and they put you under, you're getting a low dosage of heroin. Mm-hmm. If you have pain medication right afterwards, you're getting a low dosage of heroin. Like morphine is a low dosage of heroin. That's what it is.
A medical doctor giving you that is not the same as doing it on the street.
That's why we don't want them doing it on the street.
That's what this safe injection site is literally
But again,
for.
there's a purpose to taking drugs like that after a surgery. There is not a purpose
necessarily.
Because
Not necessarily.
That's not true. You don't agree with the purpose, but the purpose is to feel good. That's a purpose. It's the same reason why you drink alcohol.
Well, it's a pain reliever.
It makes you feel good. 100%. It's an emotional pain
An
reliever as well.
addictive one.
You
an
have
intentionally addictive pain reliever.
But it also works better than other pain relievers.
Not necessarily.
Heroin is some of the best pain reliever that there is.
Correct.
I'm a morphine fan.
But there is
I
a
understand.
reason you're taking it.
Yes.
Sometimes,
but
yeah.
Because you don't agree with the reason does not make it a reason, right? I want to get high. That's a reason. If I want to drink a whole bottle of wine, that's a reason.
And I think we found.
Do you disassociate like alcohol use with heroin use? Do you think it's a different thing?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
What I was gonna say is I think we should have an episode where someone makes we pretend it's 1928 or whenever prohibition was still in effect,
right.
Like make the case for alcohol's legality because it would not if alcohol and weed had been switched these last 100 years, they'd be having a real tough time selling people on alcohol. It'd be real tough.
I would have no problem with alcohol being illegal, but I also what you said about you want to get high and that's your reason. That's fine, and that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. That just should the government shouldn't be. You know what? You want to get high? Come here and do it. I don't think that's the business the government should be in.
What do you when you think of a government? What do you think that their role should play in a society?
Protecting its citizens. That's it.
Is public health a part of that? And does that fall under that umbrella?
Kind of.
I'm listening.
I don't believe that we should be handing out drugs to people. I just don't.
Hold on, we do though.
How?
People get addicted to morphine.
Hold on, man.
Yeah, that's not the government.
They're not involved. They're not involved in medicine.
Well, sure, but when you go to the hospital and get a surgery and they give you morphine, that's not the government, the city government saying, "Hey, come to 120."
It's drugs regulated by the FDA. Those are all government institutions that goes down the pipeline. This is not.
Yeah, again, but you recognize that that's different than saying come to 120 West 100th Street and get fucking heroin.
It's okay. So are you saying you don't think the government should be involved in any public health? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying we shouldn't be passing out heroin.
To what capacity?
I feel like I'm being very clear.
No, you're not, because what you're doing is you're not being clear on what capacity the government should be involved in public health. Like where do you draw the line?
I mean, you'd have to give me another example of something. Should we have? I don't get your question. The government should not be giving heroin to people. That's my stance. Now, if you want to say, you're just saying public health, what other instances of public health? Should we have, COVID testing centers? Sure.
So if...
Or COVID vaccine centers? Sure.
That's a drug, though.
Yeah, again, inoculating yourself against COVID, not the same as doing heroin.
I don't understand.
You don't understand?
I think you're disassociating. You're drawing this arbitrary line between public health and whatever you feel is irresponsible drug use. But it's still a part of
yes,
public
I
health.
am.
But it's still a part of public health. You have to be specific into why you think that is, or else you're just saying this is just how I feel. And if that's the case, okay, we could just move on to the next topic.
I mean, I think I am. I'm saying I personally do not believe the government should have centers where you can go do heroin.
Right, and that's just how you feel. There's no like, this is how you feel.
You know,
I mean, what else would it be?
Because I'm making the argument that public health, that there's no blurred line. If it's helping people, it's helping people. There should be no, and we should regulate and give people the help that they need, regardless of what that actually entails, right? If weaning somebody off of heroin is a part of public health, I'm for it, right? If inoculating them against a virus is public health, I'm for it. You're saying no, we draw the line here at heroin usage, and I don't, because it's a public health issue.
I have an example that I know you're gonna hate and reject, but sure. let's just take this to its logical conclusion. Let's say we have people who are going out and stabbing people all the time, right? And we give them a place to go
stab people.
Yeah, or punch people in the face. Do something a little less bad.
Right. But boxing gyms.
But it's got to be something that's still illegal. I don't know, to stab animals
Cats.
Or something. Yes. Let's give them a place to go. It's not as bad. It's objectively not as bad. It's still bad. Is that okay?
I'm all for this. This sounds awesome.
Are you serious? So then I guess we just disagree.
No, it's a bad analogy because we have places where people stab animals. They're called butcher shops.
Well,
it's perfect.
Okay,
it's
actually, but
yes,
slaughterhouses.
Slaughterhouses.
The book
to be hold on.
It's not.
Big T, you did just make the NRA argument for guns, like because people like to hunt. That's exactly why.
Well, my whole argument is that this is being run by the government, not. If you want to go do heroin in your house and like you think you're not going to get caught, go for it.
It's not the caught aspect though. It's the safety. Again, this is a public health issue, not necessarily. Like, you keep viewing it as like people firing up Netflix.
You would agree that homelessness is an issue, right?
Yes.
Okay, you would agree that drug use in general is an issue, right?
Yes.
These are policy issues that can demonstrably be changed by aiding people in those areas. Would you disagree with that?
I don't think this is the way to do it. No.
Okay, give me a solution.
My problem is you haven't offered.
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I don't believe it's this.
But we're telling you this has worked, like the proven track record.
This is the first time it's been done in this country.
In the U.S.
Here, if you look at data,
right?
If you look at data from the dispensaries that are being placed all over America, it's very clear that it's a safer way to regulate drug usage. It's not even nobody even argues.
I really hope that happens.
You know where there's been.
I don't think it's going to.
You know where there's a surprisingly large amount of crime per capita?
Where, Billy?
Antarctica.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's actually crazy. Per cap. No, there's a ton. So the show's topic today is Antarctica.
Welcome.
I do want to put it on the record that the craziest thing that part of that whole argument was that Arian said that he'd rather the inconvenience of an elbow surgery than a cracked screen.
1000%.
That was stuck in my head the entire time.
Well, the ulnar nerve sucks.
That's what started the whole thing.
Yeah, crazy how we go from elbow surgery to that.
Have you ever really bumped your elbow, like funny bone, like hard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the worst.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Like your whole hand goes numb.
I woke up the other day and I thought I lost usage of my arm because it was just numb and I couldn't feel it, and I just felt it was scary as shit.
Yeah.
There's surprisingly a lot of people in this country have dead arms that doctors won't amputate.
What?
Yeah. There's like a theory on that of why they don't do it, but I don't know.
Probably legal reasons.
My science teacher in high school had a dead arm. She just had it and she would just hold it.
One of my best friends does. Inky Johnson. If you ever heard, you know Inky, Big T.
Mm-hmm. I have a signed Inky Johnson helmet on my desk.
Yeah, so Inky Johnson. If y'all don't know who he is, he's a great motivational speaker now. Play with him.
Yeah.
He was in my signing class at the University of Tennessee, and we were playing Air Force 2006, and he went for a tackle and he lowered the head and he hit the crown of his head. And I think it was like a brachial plexus, maybe. I might be fucking that term up, but severed some of his nerves. I'm probably fucking that up. But yeah, so he lost usage of his whole right arm, and actually he's one of the most amazing humans I've ever came across, because he took that and motivated himself to. I mean, he's big right now, so it's he's a really inspirational human being. So that, and my father as well. I think he had something wrong with, so he doesn't have full usage of his arm, but he eats to move it a little bit. Anywho, Billy, this is your time to shine, man.
Let it go.
BT,
Which you already,
appreciate the
before you
exchange,
start,
BT.
you already failed in what you set out to do.
I know. I should have shut down the
Yeah,
drug talk.
we're an hour and 2 minutes and fuck.
Yeah,
That's about on brand, right? Some macro shit right there.
correct. But Billy was trying to change the brand.
I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, we never explained to Arian before you were in the Zoom. Billy, like Coley joined and we were just saying hello, and Billy goes like when it started going in on this 2-minute diatribe about how like we don't do the show right and he's going to change it.
That is not at all. I just wanted a little
he
more.
laid out a decree.
I did not lay out a decree. Don't make this sound like
you said we don't do enough facts in this show, and you want to get through the whole fact sheet because
I write these fact sheets, and a lot of great facts fall by the wayside.
Bro, Billy busted in a saloon and said,
Yes.
look here, since PFT's gone, there's a new cowboy in town.
Literally, I mean, the second he sat down in that chair.
You can listen to some fucking Antarctica.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I totally thought, because PFT, where he going, like, I kind of take over the hosting responsibilities. Billy cutting the line.
Yeah. He was like,
I'm so for it though, man.
Last night, Billy said we should do Antarctica, and Arian said that sounds dumb as shit. You got to convince me why we should do that.
Bro, Antarctica's actually, I don't know. I just want to, there's some cool facts.
No, I fuck with Billy, man, the long way. You know what you should do real quick? This has nothing to do with what we just said, but that whiteboard in front of your desk, Billy, draw a frog or some shit on that, bro.
We will. We're working on it. I'll find a good thing to put on there.
Okay, bet. All right, Billy, this you, man. Take us away, baby.
Antarctica. I think Antarctica is going to be a hugely big factor in the next coming centuries, in my opinion. With stuff like global warming happening, Antarctica, now basically a giant ice desert, I think will one day be an oasis that could be the newest place to sort of move humanity. But anyway, it is the size of basically 2 Australias. It's actually very convenient that on exactly the South Pole, there is a island that sort of surrounds it. Some interesting facts about Antarctica: when you're standing on Antarctica, every way you face is basically north. Or wait, I think I did that wrong. Every way you face is, north. So it's a weird place. It's got a couple of research facilities on the continent in a very small population that kind of has a lot of weird problems because they're so isolated. They're inside all the time, and it comes with some interesting things to tackle. But basically, here's some statistics on the Antarctic ice sheet that is, basically covers the entire continent. It's 5.4 million square miles. It is 7.2 million cubic miles. Its maximum depth is 15,000 feet. Its average depth is 7,000 feet, and it covers roughly 98% of Antarctica and contains 90% of the ice on Earth. It also contains 70% of the world's fresh water, and 2% of the Antarctic ice sheet is penguin pee. So, all right, let's get spicy.
You say penguin pee?
Yeah.
You want to expound on that?
Well, because there's so many penguins on Antarctica, they pee and then the ice freezes.
Oh, it's literally like
Just
a sheet of penguin urine.
Piss.
Wow, that's actually pretty interesting. I read. It has nothing to do with this episode. I was a couple of days ago. I was reading about penguins. They stink. Like, I didn't know that. That
you mean
like they're putrid.
Yeah, they're
terrible.
They're fish.
But it's like I forget the reason. I'm gonna look it up. But like they are notoriously like stinky fucking, like, it's not like a fish smell. I mean, some people like fish smell, but like they actually stink. I'm gonna look it up.
There's I mean, if you've ever been to an aquarium, I feel like that's the most odoriferous region of the aquarium.
I'll fuck with aquariums.
No, because of the sea jail that they're in.
It's sea jail. especially SeaWorld, man. I ain't been to SeaWorld.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's a little different than your standard aquarium.
I mean, is it?
They treat the sea turtle at the New England Aquarium very well. They're not tillicuming his ass at all.
We'll be right back to talk more about Antarctica and various other topics. But I want to tell you about our friends at BetterHelp. The best way to think about therapy is through a bunch of analogies. We get cars tuned up, prevent bigger issues down the road. We get annual checkups and go to the gym, maintain physical wellness and prevent injury and disease. We do chores regularly to avoid a giant mess of the house. Going to therapy is like all of the above. It's routine maintenance for your mental and emotional wellness to prevent bigger issues down the road. Therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you're investing in yourself to keep your mind healthy. And Barstool Sports agrees. They're offering BetterHelp services to their employees, an added benefit to take care of their overall well-being. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to go see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. You can start by communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Why invest in everything else and not your mind? I think it's very important that we destigmatize having therapy sessions, especially as men. I think that we, over the course of society, just push our problems down further and further until we get to the point where we explode. And I think if you get on top of it, like I stated previously, maintain it and realize it's okay to not be okay and talk to other people. I see therapists from here, weekly, bi-weekly. And it's just something that I've been a part of my routine, and it's helped me tremendously because I got to deal with Big T all the time. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/DOSE. That's BETTERHELP.com/dose.
Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, and the United Kingdom.
He's texting it now.
All have places in Antarctica. Russia and the United States also are allowed to have claims on Antarctica, but they haven't made them yet. The USSR used to make a claim, but now that is transferred to current-day Russia. So there was actually the first Cold War arms control deal was actually the Antarctic Treaty, and that was due to restricting any armaments being put on Antarctica. Interesting fact, there was almost a breakout of war between English scientists and Argentinians. Basically, this is actually a crazy story. The English were setting up a little research cabin, and these Argentinian dudes just started lighting them up with machine guns in Antarctica. It's pretty wild.
I've never heard of that, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
Tensions were some of the precursors to the Falkland Wars.
So scientists just was walking around with AKs.
Kind of. Yeah.
Sounds wild, man. I'm gonna roll with it.
All right, let's just go crime in Antarctica. Here's a list of crimes. There actually has been tons.
I was gonna say that treaty, that Antarctic treaty, is a fucking cornerstone of the flat Earth.
I know.
Yeah.
So, the Antarctic does play a huge role in the flat Earth, and our flat Earth episode, I think we talked a ton about it, how there's so many differing accounts of the ice wall and whatnot. But the truth is the Antarctic is mostly just an ice desert. It's just a block of ice with tons of just, barren wasteland.
And you can visit, it's just not wise to, and it's regulated. You can, it's not like there's security guards with cameras and shit. Like, it's just it's just not smart because traversing that terrain is deadly.
It's hard to get to, and there's no resources. I think almost everyone who goes to Antarctica needs to get their appendix removed. And there was a instance, because they can't do an appendectomy on in Antarctica.
So you can't have an appendix and go to Antarctica?
Because it's a liability that you could die out there with an appendix.
So I Googled, do you need your appendix out to go to Antarctica? And the answer is no, unless you are a doctor and are staying there for the entire winter.
No, so what I mean is you can visit the place that people usually go with the tourist place. You don't need to get it removed, but to stay in the research cabin, like the actual places where people stay for a long time, you need your appendix removed.
Billy, can I ask you a question about
Only if it's winter.
Yeah.
What is the the tourist attractions that you were speaking of?
So there's this one point where people claim is just like, for flat earthers, is just like a southernmost island that you can just go to, sort of like how they say Australia isn't real and it's just South America where people get flown to. You know that Australia isn't real theory? Well, the place they go, like the tourist attraction, is basically you can take a boat from Chile or one of the southernmost parts of South America, which takes you to that sort of place on the continent, which is sort of like it juts out. It's different. It's technically under New Zealand's control. Yeah.
Yo, this is wild. Little sidebar fact. In 1961, a Russian doctor stationed I'm not even gonna attempt to say that word. Some station removed his own appendix.
Yeah.
With no outside help possible. He used local anesthetic. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Dog. You don't need it removed unless you're staying for a long time, I guess. But it's not really. You'll be straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those rules where it's like it happened once, so they had to make a rule about it.
But like because you can visit Antarctica for like a day. That's usually what people when they go to Antarctica do. But there's a lot of people look at Antarctica through Google Earth and try to find different types of either, secret UFO bases or like different types of the topography sometimes starts to look like stuff and people claim it's stuff. But there is like conspiracies about secret Nazi bunkers in Antarctica where Hitler went after the war. And even though the Nazis did go to Antarctica in like the 1930s, they do not have any claim on it currently, like Germany in itself. But they called it New Swabia. There was a part of Antarctica that Nazis colonized and called New Swabia. They just dropped stuff there.
You might bring this up later, but isn't there micro countries on Antarctica?
Yeah, there was someone try to claim parts of Antarctica as their own and create their own currency in a small country, but they never actually went there. So a lot of crazy stuff. So basically, because everyone's indoors in long term in Antarctica, they kind of go a little cabin fever and stir crazy. I just wanted to read a couple crimes that happened in Antarctica. There are a couple crimes. There actually is a good amount of drug use in Antarctica because, there's literally nothing to do there. So there was several instances of illicit drug use. Other crimes include torturing and killing wildlife, racing motorbikes through environmentally sensitive area, and assault with deadly weapons, attempted murder, and arson. But some specific, the first instance of crime in Antarctica is in 1959. The Vostok station, then a Soviet research station in Prince Elizabeth Land, was the scene of a fight between two scientists over a game of chess. When one of them lost the game, he became so enraged that he attacked the other with an ice axe. According to some sources, it was a murder, though other sources say the attack was not fatal. After a KGB investigation, chess games were banned at the Soviet, Russian, Antarctic stations by the Antarctic Soviet Commission. So yeah, they're so bored out there, they just end up attacking each other with ice picks. The next one was an Argentinian research station located at the Kanter Peninsula by Paradise Harbor. The station's original facilities were burned down by the station's leader and doctor on the 12th of April 1984 after he was ordered to stay for the winter. The station personnel were rescued by the ship Hero and taken to Palmer Station, an American research station on Anvers Island. Yeah, just a lot of people just go nuts when they're out in these research facilities.
As they should. There ain't nothing to do out there. That cabin fever is a real thing.
Yeah. So one of the craziest parts of Antarctica is that there is a lake underneath the ice sheet called Lake Vostok. And there's been a Russian camp there focused on drilling through, several thousand feet of ice to get to this underwater freshwater lake. So because the ice is under so much pressure, it actually turns back to water. So crazy thing, water is different than other molecules in that when water gets hotter, it actually expands. When water gets colder, it actually expands. That's why if you freeze a bottle of beer or something, it explodes. So when you pressurize ice so much, at some point it actually goes back to liquid, something that's very different than other makeups of like different substances. So under Antarctica, there's this huge freshwater lake that they've been drilling towards, and there might be literal tons of life down there, and that could be representative of life on other planets. So I found that really cool. They haven't actually gotten down there yet because every time they drill the hole, they have to use antifreeze, and they don't want to contaminate the actual lake with the antifreeze that the Russians are using. And the technology for hot water drilling, where they can just consistently heat the drill as it goes down, hasn't really gotten up to speed yet. So what happens is they're drilling through all this ice, and every time they almost get to the bottom, if any water makes it through, since it's so pressurized, it just floods up through and refreezes immediately. So there could be some serious, like findings if they finally go down there. There could be, any sort of crazy life living down there, because Antarctica at one point was a very tropical island. When we talk about Pangea moving, there was actually there's a lot of fossils found in Antarctica, dinosaur fossils. It was like a totally like hustling, bustling, almost tropical paradise, kind of sort of like Australia in a way. Mm-hmm. So hypothetically, when Antarctica was freezing over, there may have been, any sort of life forms that were still under there that have survived under the ice sheet. And they've discovered bacteria and eukaryotes that they think are either very relative to what life on planets like Pluto or some of the moons of Saturn are actually compared to. Europa, exactly. So, I mean, it's pretty insane that there's a giant freshwater lake underneath Antarctica, basically almost smack dab in the middle. It's pretty gigantic.
What kind of, if you think about this is fun to postulate, what kind of life, because when you think about life and how it develops, because of, how we know evolution works, Billy, the environmental factors, like what kind of life would you predict, if it is living down there, would be down there?
So basically small bacterium or eukaryotes, which are different than bacteria, but it's like a weird sort of, I got to look that up, but basically some fungi and basically very micro forms, as they say.
So nothing major, nothing big, you don't think?
Hypothetically, there could be, sturgeon type fish living down there, because there are reports that there are like geothermal heat being emanated that deep. So all sorts of stuff. But I actually think, Antarctica, as someone, we grew up in the 21st century, and we've been hearing ever since 2011 Al Gore about global warming, and everyone's just saying the world's totally screwed. I like to think that Antarctica might be the final frontier if it really does, everything go to shit. So I think Antarctica is going to play a much larger role than we think in the future.
What do you mean if everything goes to shit?
Well, they're saying that the climate, like, let's say water levels rise, a vast majority of the world becomes uninhabitable that used to be habitable. Climates become so uncomfortable and so unpredictable weather-wise. They say that Antarctica, if we get those several degrees of temperature increase, will, instead of being the ice desert it currently is, will more look like places in temperate climates like Northern Europe or
you said
Southern
it's the
Alaska.
size of 2 Australias?
Yep.
How many people live in Australia?
Well, the thing is, population density, we could fit
20 million?
I know, but we can fit the whole world with the population density of New York, I think, into Texas. So
that would be mad wild. The subway rides would be shit.
Yeah. There's actually
26 million people live in Australia. Now, granted, obviously, a lot of that
it's
is
all
uninhabited
outback.
land.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't understand. Okay, so if explain this to me, Billy. If the climate continues to rise, Antarctica isn't a land, right? It's ice. So would it not just melt, or would it continue to be ice and we find ways to survive on ice?
No, what's pretty crazy is Antarctica is an actual, like, most of the North Pole is ice in an ice cap, but much of Antarctica is an actual island. It's an
so it's a land. There's land mass.
It's a huge land mass, which is insane
that makes
about
sense. So how do they know how thick the ice sheet is? Because it accounts for like what? 70% of Earth's. Yeah.
So it's about 7,000 feet deep on average.
7,000 feet of ice.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
But there are land masses that jut out of the ice.
So did you do anything about research on the pyramid that they found? I know it's kind of like a little conspiratorial, but go ahead, shoot.
Google Maps has a lot of land masses that sort of become very when people are looking on Google Earth, they're seeing stuff they have no way of explaining. And Antarctica, the images of Antarctica on Google Earth get updated a little more than other places because they don't have to, get permission to take pictures of the places because no one's inhabiting them. So you'll see like tons of land masses, different mountains that people are sort of just looking at on Google Earth and be like, this is a pyramid.
Yeah. That we could actually do a whole episode on pyramids because that shit is interesting how they form and the time periods in which they showed up in throughout our history. What else you got, man? This is your factoid. This is your fact off right now, man.
So
hit us with it, dog.
There's also a gigantic hole in Antarctica called the Weddell Polynia, which is just an ice hole the size of New Zealand that's just in the middle of Antarctica that melts due to geothermal heat. And it's just a literal, everyone thinks that it's some sort of like hole to another dimension if you're looking at it through Google Earth, but it's actually very interesting geoscientific like phenomena. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, there are tons of conspiracies about Antarctica, about like the no-go zones, which is really just places that you can't go because there's nothing there, and if you go, you'll probably die. So that's why there's a lot of mystery around Antarctica.
It's breeding ground for conspiracies. Anytime there's rules. What have you heard anything? This is interesting to me. I haven't done no research on this, so I'm just asking. Have you I remember when I was growing up, we used to hear a lot about the ozone layer. We don't really hear about that shit anymore. Do you know why?
Because I think we banned the BFCs that wasn't that under the Clinton administration. All the hairspray that went out of style. Aerosol.
It's starting. People are gonna be mad if I'm wrong, but I think it's starting to heal itself.
Yeah.
I think,
the ozone layer, there was a big place that was on Australia. How is the ozone doing?
How's the ozone doing? Just checking on the ozone.
I still couldn't even tell you what the ozone really is.
CFC damage. Ozone layer rescued from CFC damage.
Antarctic ozone hole is 13th largest on record. From National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
So according to the BBC, the ozone layer's healing process is back on track. Oh, so it was going well, and then
it wasn't.
There was illegal CFC production that was occurring in eastern China, and now they've curbed that and has sort of it's back on track.
But I didn't realize there were multiple holes in it. I thought it was just one hole. But this one says the Antarctic ozone hole is the 13th largest. Or is it just...
How many holes are there?
That's what I'm saying. Or is it one hole and it heals itself and then another hole rips open? I don't know how the ozone works.
There's only
ozone is a highly reactive gas composed of 3 oxygen atoms. It is both a natural and a man-made product that occurs in the Earth's upper atmosphere. The stratosphere and lower atmosphere, the troposphere, depending on where it is in the atmosphere. Ozone affects life on Earth in either a good or bad way. Stratosphere ozone is formed naturally through the interaction of solar ultraviolet radiation with molecular oxygen, O2. The ozone layer, approximately 6 through 30 miles above the Earth's surface, reduces the amount of harmful UV radiation reaching the Earth's surface. So I guess it protects us from UV rays.
So I'm reading something, and it says the ozone hole in Antarctica, it begins every September. So it opens up every September because chlorine and bromine derived from human-produced compounds are released from reactions on high-altitude polar clouds, and then the chemicals start to break down the ozone layer, and then at the end of winter, it heals itself. Or heals it to a whatever extent that is.
So it's weird because all the different settlements and research facilities all run on their home country's local time because there's 6 months of sun and 6 months of darkness every year.
So is there...
So there's no
time
day
zone?
or night.
No, but the time zone that they're in. Or is it...
There's no time zone because it's a year. 6 months sun's up, 6 months sun's down.
But there's still 24 hours in a day.
Right, but it's light for all 24 hours or dark for all 24 hours.
I know, but how do you know what time it is?
You can't. That's why they run on their home.
It's digital. Time is digital.
Right.
But because the sun doesn't behave the same as it does closer to the equator.
They can't tell you what time is midnight.
Right, because they use their local time. So if I'm a British expedition team,
you're just saying it's 3 p.m. because it's 3 p.m. in London?
Yeah, exactly.
Why doesn't... I feel like America should have more of a stake in Antarctica. That feels like an American thing to do.
We have researchers there, but because it was so, testy during the Cold War, USSR and the US were just like, we're not going to stake claims.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, they're like, we can stake claims, but we're not going to, waste resources on it because...
Why not now?
Well, now there is American researchers at, different bases across the continent. And actually there's a huge sort of group. So the Reddit Antarctica group is sort of a good, like, if you want to see first-hand accounts of people who work in Antarctica, just like different types of laborers there and a lot of chefs. And, there's a big group who want to end up actually working there and aspire to making it to Antarctica. I think, Buckminster Fuller, the guy who developed buckyballs.
I don't know what buckyballs are.
The magnetic...
Oh, the silver
yeah,
line of balls.
The guy who also developed the geodesic dome. So he wanted to design dome cities that could be put up in Antarctica. And he had in 1965 he discussed Antarctica as a place that he could put these 2 kilometer the diameter would be 2 kilometers and they could have 40,000 residents in these dome cities. That'd be climate controlled. I don't know. I like to think of, everyone's like space is the next frontier, but if, it does really all sort of get messy with global warming, Antarctica could be a spot.
So I went to the Reddit the subreddit for Antarctica.
Yeah.
And also, do you pronounce the second or the C in it? Do you say Antarctica or Antarctica? Because I just
Antarctica.
Yeah, I just replaced
I think the C is. I think it's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Because you would say the Antarctic.
Arctic.
Yeah, the Arctic.
Arctica.
I'm just lazy.
Well, remember we talked about this on another show. The Arctic means bears.
Bears.
Antarctic means no bears.
So there's a
I love that.
Bro, that should tickle the hell out of you. I appreciate that.
There's a subreddit or there's a thread on the subreddit that says, would a large human civilization in Antarctica melt its ice? Hypothetically, if a large human civilization populated Antarctica and only used renewable energy sources, which is I guess the most important part of that, would a large amount of Antarctica's ice melt due to, say, the people's body heat or them constantly walking or driving over the ice or snow? And this person says, no, it's similar to the question, how much would the water level rise if everyone stood in the ocean? The amount of ice is too great for anything at a human scale to affect it. However, cities give off a lot of heat, enough to create their own climate zones, and this might cause localized changes in ice thickness. That's interesting.
So how much ice would need to be melted? Well, I'll take that back. If the ice was melted from the land mass, right, to reach the land mass, would that not just flood it, or would we actually see the land mass before that would happen?
So the water would probably all drain into the ocean.
Right.
And then probably raise.
And then sea levels would rise.
Yeah. Which would reduce the continent size.
Which would then leave less room for, like, it would, it's like a chain
reaction. If all the
ice
ice in the Antarctic melted, it would be pretty messy for everybody.
So
that's what I'm saying. It would definitely flood a lot of places. But I'm saying, would it flood the actual landmass on Antarctica?
No. It would sort of all drain off into the ocean.
Basically,
But that's the safest place to be.
Yeah.
That subreddit thread is saying basically that humans can't affect it. So if ever, like, 7 billion people went to Antarctica and lived there, we wouldn't, if we were good about it, we wouldn't change as much. But if we started, like, making it a civilization and putting buildings and cities and making it,
right,
you know.
But there's, like, huge mountainous structures and volcanoes on Antarctica that they think will be the best places to inhabit because they're already jutting out above the ice. So if everything started to melt, those would be the places that farming could start and actually, like, get something going.
But how would farming, like, how would anything survive? Just greenhouses?
No, they could actually, if the temperature does change, those would be the spots that, like, they're saying in the 22nd century, like the beginning of the 22nd century, we might have to start, like, actually looking at Antarctica as a place to land.
Also, this is just a me thing. I don't think Antarctica's that cold. Just from the looks of it, I think I would be fine. I think if I wore a good jacket, it just doesn't seem that cold.
Some places are.
I'm from Ohio. Antarctica ain't shit.
No, I have like effect. No, but I'm saying, like, looking at pictures of it, I can't. Maybe it's just because my brain can't comprehend how cold it would be. In my head, it would just be like a chilly day. I can't comprehend how cold.
Light breeze, yeah.
What are you smoking?
I just feel like it.
She's been to the heroin center.
No.
It's negative 20 right now.
I know. I looked up the weather already today, and it said it was negative 17. I just, in my head, I can't.
Are you thinking it's like
process how cold it is?
But it's because it's like some of the windiest places on Earth.
It's gone up to 65 degrees.
Right. Sometimes in Ohio, people like to complain about how cold it is. Be like, it's colder in Ohio than it is in Antarctica today. If I can handle Ohio, can I handle Antarctica? Probably not. But
like that's 64 degrees on a super sunny day, probably at the height of summer.
At the height of summer, I could handle Antarctica in the summer for sure.
But in the winter, when it's been dark for like
months.
5-6 months,
like nothing's heating it.
Yeah, so it's literally negative 80.
I never said what time of year I thought I could handle it.
Like there's videos of people, walking out and like their eyeballs freezing.
That's not true, Billy.
Like no, seriously, their eyeballs freeze over.
Well, then I'd
like when they die.
That sound like a little bit of cap right there.
Okay, let me back that up.
Just in my head looking at pictures,
Yeah,
I mean, just think I can handle it.
You started the example by saying walking and their eyeballs freezing. So now they're dead. You can't be walking and dead.
The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Zombies in Antarctica? That's
is Madeline, are you thinking like how Arizona's 110 isn't as hot as Florida's 110 because of the lack of humidity? Is that why
there is no humidity?
No, not even that, because that's a whole different thing. And I just in my brain, I think I could handle Antarctica. I think
I hope you can. You should go and see.
I would like to go. But I just think it's one of those things where whenever I see people in Antarctica, maybe because it's also I watched Mr. Popper's Penguins and they went to Antarctica and they were just wearing like winter coats. But in my head, if I wore a good coat and I prepared well and I had hand warmers, I could do it. But I know that's not how that works.
When you mean you could do it, you mean you could just like walk around for a little bit, or what?
That. Not that I could live there and inhabit there, but I could.
Okay.
I could just go outside and take it.
I'm currently watching a video from Antarctica where it's negative 100 degrees, and like the inside of the door, not the outside, like in the building is just coated in ice, and she opens it, and then snow just like pours in instantaneously, and like
I'm not thinking about that.
I mean, it's not even like...
Yeah, dude, it's a different planet.
I know, but I think the only things I've seen from Antarctica are movies, And so I don't
send that video to the chat, Big T.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I'm strong. It's one of those things where it's like, you think you're tougher than the sun, bro, the fucking sun. I think I'm tougher than Antarctica.
So the summer in Antarctica it starts Wednesday, December 22nd and ends March 21st.
Should I go?
Yeah, this is your time to shine, dog. Like it's about to be prime Maddie season in Antarctica.
I need to get a new passport, and then I'm there.
The South
Do you
Pole.
need a passport to enter Antarctica? I don't think so.
Well, I'm leaving the country.
To enter.
Oh, not to enter, but to leave America.
I think if you can get into.
Can I fly private there?
Yeah,
I
because
think that's the only way to do it. There's no commercial flights.
Well, no, but I don't even know how you would get there. Or would I need like a government regulated flight?
So I think the way that people usually go is you have to travel to any of those countries that have a claim, and then if you're wanting to go from there,
because there's tourists that go.
Yeah.
Also, Big T, this is very scary. This video you sent is very scary. I'll post it on our Twitter, and it kind of looks like the door in Monsters Inc. Like a scary door in Monsters Inc. You know what I'm talking about?
There's no way in hell I would go to Antarctica.
And she's just wearing like a hoodie, like it's just a normal.
Yeah, it's just chilling like a regular hoodie and a beanie, like it's fall. She's gonna go.
Just go pick apples.
The whole. It's not just the door, dog. The whole wall inside. Is iced. Hell, and there's snow. No, I'm straight.
Yeah. So basically, the best way to get to Antarctica is you fly to New Zealand. Oh no! Wait. you go to Argentina.
Nah, I mean this is not.
And then, yeah, so you fly into Buenos Aires, then you fly to Ushuaia, Argentina, and then throughout the summer, the port of Ushuaia embarks and disembarks expedition vessels bound for the southern wilderness as seamlessly as any harbor in the Virgin Islands, Mediterranean, or Alaska. So they cross by sea and they traverse the famous Drake Passage that separates South America from the Antarctic Peninsula. So
I love how you say that, by the way.
Which one?
Peninsula.
It's one of those ones I know.
No, I said I love how you say it.
Am I saying it weird?
I think you said peninsula.
Yeah, you're really
Peninsula.
holding on to that
Peninsula.
I don't even know the correct, but I like that one. I'm gonna go with that one. Peninsula.
So depending on conditions, this crossing often takes a day and a half at sea, and then you basically just go there. You can't stay there. You spend a day there, then you just go back.
I mean, it's like a massive waste of time.
Yes.
It's more for people who want to go to every continent.
We have rich people.
Yeah. It's like, we've been to all 6 continents, and they want to go to the 7th.
I mean, it's not bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's cool to say that you've been on every landmass on the planet you occupy. That's pretty cool to say.
I feel like you gotta go pretty deep in. Like the outskirts of Antarctica are just breaking off into the sea so often. Like I don't even know if people can claim that anymore.
You saying that ain't real?
Yeah, they didn't touch grass in Antarctica. I'm not
I wonder.
Billy, go ahead.
I wonder how many people who actually went to space haven't been to Antarctica.
I bet those are just
like Jeff
two
Bezos.
different circles.
I would say like all of them, probably.
Yeah.
You think Jeff Bezos has been to Antarctica?
No.
I don't think so. There's no money to be
There's
made
no
there.
prime there.
We would have blogged it.
You definitely would have talked about it.
I mean, it's crazy to leave the planet before going to all the continents.
But
I don't think that's
not really. There's no ice there, bro. There's nothing there.
I also feel like the people who are researching Antarctica and the people who are researching space are two different groups of people.
Yeah.
I feel like more people like what do you think the crossover between like do you think John Glenn's been to Africa? Like I don't. Like
I was maybe.
I bet there's been like the amount of astronauts who have gone to space and also Africa is probably similar to Antarctica.
Yeah, I just don't think they're in the same group of people.
But it depends, right? Because like astronauts aren't just astronauts, right? They don't study like
for sure.
They're different scientists and they have different fields and depending on whatever. So it depends on what field of study they came from. So if I would like the geologists, maybe I would venture to say they probably have or something. Something along those lines.
There's just been so few people who've been to space. Astronauts is the best way to account for most of those people.
Let's see how many people have been to space.
Dude,
Americans, because we don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Yeah, no, I don't. The Russian numbers are inflated for sure.
Definitely the Chinese.
I'm looking at this, and some of these places in Antarctica like actually have like grass and stuff. That like
touch grass, dog.
I could do it.
Yeah, but the places that they're going.
If a blade of grass can survive, Mad Dog can take on Antarctica, no problem.
Yeah.
Like there's
these are light jackets. They have in this
500
pamphlet here. These are not heavy. Like I don't see no Canada Goose. Like these people.
556 people have reached the altitude of space according to the FAI definition of the boundary of space. 24 people have traveled beyond low Earth orbit and either circled, orbited, or walked on the moon. So let's say 24 to be safe.
Yeah.
These people aren't even wearing hats in this picture.
This Antarctic peninsula.
This is like I'm going to freaking Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, these people are beachfront. They're going for them.
This Antarctic peninsula like almost touches South America. That's fake Antarctica.
I don't care if it's not.
They're calling it West Antarctica. I don't know how you can tell when you're that low on the poles, but East Antarctica looks like where it's at. We're like
In terms of chilliness.
That's where the clubs is popping.
That's where the movie The Thing got filmed.
That's where the hoes at. Hoes is in East Antarctica.
These people are on a boat, whale watching, taking pictures, and don't have gloves on. And they're on water. I could.
Man, why are you so upset at people in Antarctica?
Because I just feel like I could do it.
I think you can. I agree. So you can get no argument. There's been people there, but like, you talking about living an extended time? I don't think so. But you can visit.
I don't want to do that.
East Antarctica.
My summer in Antarctica. That's where I spend my summers.
They're paddleboarding.
No.
They're paddleboarding in the Antarctic Peninsula.
Are they kayaking?
No, they're stand-up paddleboarding. They're supping in the Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, they're doing both.
What the fuck? Yeah, the peninsula's fake.
Antarctica is warm.
That's what I'm saying. These people haven't touched grass. They don't count.
If you fall in the water?
How cold is the water?
I don't know. Good thing I'm really good at paddleboarding.
I'm like paddleboarding in a lake.
I think it's actually not that dangerous because the water is so salty. It's like there's a certain brine that everything just floats so naturally.
Billy, do you have any facts on the type of scary animals that would be in that water, though?
Leopard seals, whales, happy feet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you know Mr. Popper's Penguins?
No.
Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. They were in New York. They had penguins in his apartment in New York, and they ate at Tavern on the Green. Yeah. That's how I know what Tavern on the Green is from that movie.
Yeah, dude. There's definitely some of these first expeditions, like Ernest Henry Shackleton, who are trying to find the.
That's a fake person.
Shackleton?
Yeah, that has to be.
No,
fake.
he's super. He's super. He's a super famous explorer. I think he died out there.
I think he did. I think I wrote about him. I can't remember.
Me.
Yeah, Ernest Shackleton. He was an Anglo-Irish Antarctic explorer who led 3 British expeditions to the Antarctic. He was one of the principal figures of the period known as the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. Yeah, dude, that's pretty. So
this is actually fucking interesting, dog. Not hell off. It was just we talking about the water. Mm-hmm. They were saying like, well, why don't the Antarctic fish freeze if it's in the sub-zero temperatures? And they found that the fish there have antifreeze proteins that work better than any kind of antifreeze, and it keeps the fish from freezing. They don't really know how it works, but they just have like special shit. Evolution, environmental factors, Billy.
Yeah, the only ones who survived were the ones who had those proteins.
Agreed, Billy.
Yeah, Shackleton died of a heart attack and was buried in South Georgia, South Georgia Island is right by the Falklands. Yeah, actually, the Falkland Wars, do you remember? That was like your time, like the late 90s.
You staring at my time, nigga. What the fuck?
How old are you guys?
Man. Regale us with a tale of the wars you saw. girl.
You're saying what?
Falkland- No, I think like it's crazy that a gunfight.
Your time.
A gunfight. But you guys remember the Falkland Wars?
I remember the Falkland War. What were they?
It was a 10-week undeclared war between Argentina and the United Kingdom in 1982. Sorry, a little later.
Yeah, that wasn't my
Like
time.
a little earlier. That's
That
crazy.
wasn't my time. Nah, I wasn't alive during the Falkland times.
That's such a weird area of the world that I just don't think about. Like
Where?
the Falkland Islands
I also don't know what those are.
in the Antarctic Peninsula.
No.
So the Antarctic Peninsula is low-key kind of basically like Patagonia. Like the far coldest parts of Patagonia is kind of like the Antarctic Peninsula.
Falkland.
Also, I just
Islands.
learned that if you guys watch Succession, the fancy places that they go to in Europe are in the Balkans. Just learned that.
The Balkans?
Yeah, well, besides, they go to Italy a bunch, but they go on these crazy vacations, and apparently they're in the Balkans. So, the more you know.
Well, yeah. What's the big yacht? Montenegro?
Montenegro's a country.
Yeah, is that where they go with their yachts?
Yeah, I think
Super
so.
rich people?
Yeah. That's
Like
how I know it.
McGregor? I know McGregor goes yachting there.
I saw. I want. I
not
want to
in
go
the
there
yacht
after
club.
Donnie's video.
Big T, you all right, man?
I'm doing great. Just enjoying these facts on Antarctica. Before we get back into the show, I want to talk to you guys about our friends from Black Rifle Coffee again. Black Rifle Coffee Company is a veteran-owned coffee company serving premium coffee to people who love America. Veteran CEO and founder Evan Hafer spent over 7 years on the ground overseas with U.S. Special Forces as a CIA contractor. Evan even modified his gun trucks during the invasion of Iraq to grind coffee anywhere. Black Rifle is continually committed to supporting veteran law enforcement and first responder causes. In 2020, Black Rifle donated more than 6 million cups of coffee to deployed soldiers, law enforcement, and medical workers through their signature Buy a Bag, Give a Bag initiatives. Black Rifle imports its high-quality coffee beans from all over the world and roasts 5 days a week at its facilities in Manchester, Tennessee, and Salt Lake City, Utah. The team at Black Rifle is continually researching and experimenting with new roasting methods and coffee origins. The best way to enjoy Black Rifle is by joining the coffee club. You pick your perfect roast, how much when you want it delivered to your door. They take care of the rest. It's super easy, free to sign up, and you get free shipping, discounts on partner brands, and early access to new products and club exclusives. Go to blackriflecoffee.com/dose and use code DOSE to get the freshest coffee in America shipped to you today. That's blackriflecoffee.com/DOSE and code DOSE.
Dude, now that I'm thinking about it, these Falkland Wars, like, there was 3 Falkland Islanders killed by friendly. Actually, there was a ton of casualties.
How many? What are we talking? What's the ton?
I mean, there was 255 English casualties, and there was 649 Argentinian casualties. 2 destroyers.
What were they fighting over?
Just some islands off the coast of Argentina that the English had claims on.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So the conflict
That's
was
funny.
a major episode in the protracted dispute over the territory's this is a word that troubles me, sovereignty. Argentina asserted and maintains that the islands are Argentine territory, and the Argentine government thus characterized its military action as reclamation of its own territory. The British government regarded the action as an invasion of a territory that had been a crown colony since 1841. Falkland Islanders, who have inhabited the island since the early 19th century, are predominantly descendants of British settlers and strongly favor British sovereignty. Neither state officially declared war, although both governments declared the islands a war zone. The conflict has had a strong effect in both countries and has been the subject of various books, articles, films, and songs. Patriotic sentiments ran high in Argentina, but the unfavorable outcome prompted large protests against ruling military government, hastening its downfall in the democratization of the country. Crazy.
Nah, man. It's not that crazy. People fucking killing each other for land. It's pretty par for humans. That's why I'm over this place.
World War
Really?
III is going to be fought in Antarctica.
Are
I
there?
don't think so. I think World War III is gonna wipe out a lot of humans. It's gonna be a nuke war.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I think it's to be like.
Yeah, that's gonna suck when that happens.
It's gonna be like nuke or like bioterror. Like
Like,
Do you think we're?
Oh, you
Oh,
mean like a country potentially using a weapon of an illness to inflict
Yes.
upon the entire world?
Mhm. Either that or them.
The likes of which it travels through humans has never been seen before.
Don't you think if COVID
this
was
has
used,
definitely been seen before. What are you talking about, bro?
don't you think if COVID, was being
COVID
used
transmits
as a
human to human better than any virus we've ever seen.
No, but you said the likes that we've never seen before. No, there's
no,
been
the thing is,
a litany of contagious viruses.
what happens is the
and
bat,
bacteria.
like, for example, the flu virus from 1918 was a lot stronger than the flu virus we have now. It's like it gets like less deadly, and that's what they
Sure.
think Omicron is going to be.
Omicron.
That's not true. It doesn't get less like.
Like it spreads easier, but isn't as harmful.
Don't you think that China would have done a better job? If
A
they were
better
trying-
job than infecting how many tens or hundreds of millions of people?
But don't you think it would have been like a
I
plague?
agree. I give them a C+ at best for
Don't you
COVID.
think it would have been like the plague where it's like if you get it, it's pretty much you're done?
No,
How
'cause
many
then you
tens of
couldn't
millions of
spread it.
people have died?
They shut
allegedly?
down multiple countries, like not even multiple countries, like
But
Oh,
what did
10
they get? What did they gain from it? Let's follow. Let's let me take a page from Big T's book. Let's take this to this logical conclusion.
our economy's screwed.
No, it's not. Economy is the best it's been in a long time.
Have
no,
you
it
seen-
no, it is
No,
not.
not anymore.
Our economy
Not
right now-
anymore.
Look at the gas prices. What are you kidding me?
Our
Gas
economy
prices
is not
are
good right now.
We have inflation that we've never seen before.
We've lost more
What
jobs.
is your metric for a good economy? I need both of you guys to answer.
not things.
No, don't tell me what is not a good economy.
Okay,
what is
I
your
will tell
metric
you
for
what.
a good
The,
economy? Okay,
the
tell me.
economy is doing well when we don't have record levels of inflation.
I don't understand. What is your metric for a good economy?
When the dollar is worth $1.
Can't
Which
the-
it's
What
not.
the fuck does that even? How
it hasn't been at any point in your
utter
lifetime,
that
then.
sentence
The
when
per-
the dollar is worth $1. That doesn't.
At
even
no
make
point
any
of your
sense.
lifetime has that been true, if that's your definition.
Okay, but you Coley, you agree that the inflation we have now is horrific.
Bro, no,
The inflation can only go up, so I'm confused when you say like the inflation's always going to be record. Like I have a hard time.
What?
is
No.
your-
Well, PPE.
What is your metric for a good economy?
Well, the purchase, like, it depends on who you.
I'm not talking to you, Billy. I'm not talking to you. I'm
When
talking
your
to Big T
when your
and Avery.
purchasing power is optimized.
Expound on that.
When the dollar is doing well relative to its counterparts around the world, and you have the relatively same amount of purchasing power as you had, say, 6 months, a year ago.
Everything is twice as expensive as it was 2 years ago.
Everything is not.
That's not true.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's demonstrably untrue.
It has to do with purchase power.
Yes, but we still. I think we relatively have the same amount of purchase power as we did 2 years ago, and gas prices are up, food prices are up, almost everything is up.
The food price articles that everything is going up are just like blatantly not true. And
But Kamala Harris even said it.
Someone who buys more groceries than everyone in that room, save maybe Arian, though I don't know his eating practices. They're not. Like the milk going up to $9 a gallon article that came out, that was bullshit immediately. People keep taking prices of these gas signs that are like $9. That's not true. I agree gas is more expensive. And every time I say this, I get this weird pushback that I do not understand. No one was buying gas for an entire year. Of course the prices went up. This is not the most expensive I've seen gas in my gas buying lifetime. Not by a long shot. We've seen it more than this. So when I hear the purchasing power isn't what it used to be, it's just wrong. Like it's not even anecdotal, it's proven to be wrong. I agree things have inflated a little bit right now from where they were last year. Of course they have. That's happened my entire life. So when it's blown out of this proportion, is like, oh, we've never seen this before. Yeah, of course we have. What are you talking about? This happens all the time. They inflate shit on us. Like we are on the wrong side of this equation. We always have been, we always will be. It is what it is. Like I don't the rate, like the terror in everyone's voice is like shocking to me.
Really?
It genuinely shocks me because like this has been my entire life. Gas has gone up, gas has plummeted down. Like everyone just wants this fucking pat on the back. Like that's just how it's always worked. Always.
So I think right now it's like 6%, I think, inflation, and the goal is like less than 2.
I thought it was 3. I don't know. I'm asking.
Nearly 3/4 of the economists surveyed by the National Association for Business Economics said they don't expect annual inflation to fall below the Federal Reserve's 2% target until the second half of 2023 or later. The core consumer price index, which excludes food and energy costs, is now expected to rise 6% from the fourth quarter of 2020 to the fourth quarter of 2021, compared to the September forecast of a 5.1% increase over the same period.
Do you understand or see my premise, though, that
I do understand what you're saying. I think it's worse than you think it is.
No, but my point is not even necessarily the tirade I went on at the end, but what I started with. Like, I would be shocked to find out many companies finished last year, 2020, in the black. I imagine the vast majority of companies finished in the red, like huge negatives that they've never seen. So the price swinging back up to make up for a year of lost revenue doesn't really shock me. Like, it's an immediate short fix that I believe most companies would have installed. Like, when I think of inflation, and this is not going to be something everyone understands or cares about, when I was growing up, the price of a hoodie was not $60 to $65, which has now become the standard that everyone just accepts. Jordans were not $220. When they got to $180, people were freaking out.
But
like, when I see that long-term inflation, that's what infuriates me more than people. What I believe, and again, I'm not saying this is fact. This is just what I think is happening. The vast majority of companies lost money last year. They've tried to make it up quickly, and I do not blame them. Like, I understand why they would want to not constantly lose money.
But also
the NBA, the NFL, these kind of companies lost millions and billions of dollars. Of course, things are going to be more expensive.
Well, more has to do with not inflation as a whole, but hyperinflation. You have to admit that there has been an exponential increase that is differing from year to that is higher than I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Again, we're also gas is not the highest it's ever been. That's just patently false.
Right.
Which is the big talking point people like to bring up. Like, it's not. When 2004 to 2006, I believe it was like touching $6 actually in California. But like I just said, yeah, it does not surprise me that a 1-year turnaround where everyone lost money, they made things more expensive to try and recoup some of those losses. Of course,
the metric
that's a permanent thing. Do I think that's anyone in charge's fault? No, that's where I draw a line of like, all right, now you're just being silly.
The metric that we're all sort of stabbing at, but we don't have a word for, is purchasing power parity. Is that the dollar today does not stretch as much as it did before.
Right, but my argument when Big T was making that point is if the dollar, it has to be worth $1, then that hasn't been true.
Well, it's not that it does as much as it did before. It's that it doesn't relative to what it has. The dollar has been, there's inflation all the time. A dollar now is not worth what it was in 1920. Everyone obviously understands that. But we are now accelerating inflation at a rate that is much higher than what it usually is and has been over the course of the last 30 years.
Sure. And my argument was, I don't think it's permanent, which is where we seem to branch off.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I don't know that I necessarily...
Even what you just cited said by 2023, which I think is a little longer than even I anticipate, but they say by 2023 that what you just cited is going to bounce back the other way. So even the experts don't view this as a long-term problem.
I would say 6% inflation for 3 years is very, very bad.
That's not even 3 years. That's 2, which sure isn't great either. But like, I don't know. I view it much more, optimistically, which is a weird way to phrase it. But like, I guess I don't see this as when I hear stuff like this, when I hear about the fucking crime rate in San Francisco, and then you dig a little into it, it's not as sinister as it's made out to be. It sounds like a lot of fear mongering on behalf of the media more than anything.
I didn't
like that milk. Do you remember the milk story that went viral 2 months ago? Like the people who were buying like 20 gallons a week or some outlandish like that.
Yeah.
They were saying they're spending like $1,000 a week on milk. Like the slightest bit of like looking through.
Well, that's
shit,
just
like,
stupid.
Not happening. No, I understand that, but that's the fear mongering. That's when I can't take a lot of it seriously. When I start seeing stuff that's so outrageous, it's like, all right, well, if you can't even just make like a point without going to some crazy extreme that doesn't apply to anyone. I'm not saying you did that, but I'm saying that side that's been out there in people's faces is fear that it truly isn't all that logical to me.
I have a genuine question. I think this is for you too. How would the economy bounce back from COVID without inflation? Like, what do you do? I genuinely don't know. Like, what do you do to bounce back from something without
I
raising
mean,
prices.
just people going out and doing what they did before would help the economy.
But that we're still
But
not
it wouldn't
fully
bring it back to
normal.
where it was. It would only go
Like,
back
don't
to
you
where
need
it was
Don't,
before.
like, I'm think from what Coley's saying, I'm getting is like, don't you need to make up for lost time, kind of thing?
There is the impact of the labor supply being a lot smaller due to there are not as many people incentivized to go work because
of the stimulus package.
Stimulus bills, which I'm not against or anything, but you do see signs everywhere.
But even
That's not true. That's not true, bro.
That's not
I have pictures on my phone.
No, I'm not denying the pictures.
Yeah.
I'm
That might
saying
be a
the
small
reasoning
fact.
behind the pictures is flawed.
Where
So
People aren't just sitting home taking loans. People, you see it everywhere. There are workforce stoppages everywhere because people took a year and were like, "Hey, why is Tony the Tiger only giving me $3.35 an hour? Why?" I was talking to a restaurant, and this is anecdotal, as Arian always likes to point out, which I appreciate. I was talking to a bar manager the other day, and he was saying he doesn't pay people $3 an hour, which most waitresses and waiters used to get, because people will not work for that anymore. It's not because the government's giving them money; it's because people had a year to sit back and go, "Oh yeah, I'm not working for like a crazy minimum wage anymore." It's a minor rolling into a major workforce revolution going on right now. It's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, people are. That is a part of it, Billy. But I think the overarching theme is you're seeing a change in value systems from a worker standpoint. They're realizing that the ownership in these companies are fucking them over. They're realizing that a lot of people's health benefits are tied to their work, which is a shit show, right? And so all of these kind of things in combination are pointing towards people saying, why would I work for that? Well, it's a part of it.
So I think to wrap what I think everyone's saying together is because of that that phenomenon you're describing, there aren't as many people who are willing to work the docks, who are willing to work at meat processing plants because of all these work stoppages that have then impacted a lot of prices of goods. I think the reasons behind it, people may not agree on, but that phenomenon, all the cargo ships that are waiting to be unloaded at the ports.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That part's crazy.
I mean, do you agree?
But that's where when I look at the people who aren't working, I don't fault them. It's
Right,
like, give them what they're worth.
Right, but that is then having impacts on the supply chain, which is causing this PP purchase price parity to be impacted, and then you see the reasoning behind why everyone's upset about pricing, and chicken fingers are going extinct.
I swear to God, I swear to God, I don't know what if I can. I don't think I can verbalize what I want to say. If the tenders go, Big T goes. You won't hear from me again.
Wait.
I promise.
If the chicken tender.
If we truly run out of chicken tenders in this country, I'm out. I'm done.
So your Dunskies, like what are you threatening?
I don't know. I don't know if I can.
Are you gonna?
I don't think I can.
You're not gonna get banned.
I think you guys can. I think you guys can discern from my tone what I'm saying.
You're gonna take.
Actually, you need to say with your chest, dog. What's gonna happen?
I will go the way of the tenders. If the tenders.
Are you? This is actually concerning, Big T. Are you a threat to yourself or others?
Myself, not others.
Okay, that's fine.
Not others.
Now, what if you found out that, much like diamonds, they were exaggerating how, like, they were hoarding the tenders?
I will lead the revolution.
Well, no, what's actually happening.
I will lead the revolution.
This is actually pretty fucked up. They're actually killing some chickens because they have all these chickens and none of them can be taken to slaughter because the meat processing plants aren't operating. So the chicken tenders are there. The chickens are there, but it's just
figure it out.
They can't process them.
It was bad enough when Chick-fil-A ran out of sauce for the tenders.
For example, I think.
And now we're talking.
Remember
just
when they were saying
they ran out of the sauce, but then like 2 weeks later, it was on shelves in Target in larger bottles that you could buy. So it was like, well, where did you run out? Like, I'm confused, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Well, the Wingstop becomes Thigh Stop because of this problem, and then you have NBC telling the American people that they can't have a turkey at their Thanksgiving. That it's better off to not have a turkey if the financial burden of. Do you remember that?
It is better to not have a turkey at Thanksgiving.
Well, you know what?
That wasn't their reasoning, though.
Yeah, it should be because turkey sucks.
Big T, I have a serious question. Would you rather go, if this happens, and chicken tenders go? Would you rather go by the wayside of the tenders, or would you rather go to a meat alternative option?
No. You'll never hear from me again if the tenders are extinct.
What if the only place that served chicken tenders was like Saudi Arabia? Would we see you in Saudi Arabia?
It'd be tough. It'd be a tough choice to make.
I'm talking, and the price is real low too. Like I'm talking about cheap chicken tenders.
It would be a tough choice to make.
LeBron,
You're buttering him up right now. He's thinking about it.
Jeremy Lin's
I hope I don't have to answer that question.
He's like, sell me on Saudi Arabia. What's the real estate?
Enes Kanter is gonna be tweeting at you instead of corrupt communist.
I hope it
CCP
doesn't
money.
come to that.
The Saudis are keeping Big T happy with the tendies.
I hope it does not
and
come.
buying his
I
silence.
really don't. But every man has his price.
So you wouldn't buy the I just bought them yesterday in my grocery thing. The nugs.
Absolutely not. No.
I think they're good.
Get out of here.
Guys, I think they're good.
No.
Well, what about
It's-
strips? Could you handle strips? Could you?
Yeah,
No, she's saying
I'm saying meat alternative.
she's saying
period.
made out of like hummus.
Oh,
Not hummus,
I'm
it's-
saying just a different cut.
Yeah.
You'll deal with strips.
Yeah. That's the same thing.
What about a thigh?
Yeah.
What
If
about
it's
dark?
just fried chicken
Yes.
without a bone.
What about-
That's what you're most
Would
worried
you
about.
Yes.
would you go dark meat?
Maybe. I don't know. If the fried chicken, is exterminated, so is Big T. That's
Okay.
That's what we're getting at.
Listen, you got to stand on something.
So getting back to the original question, what has China gained out of if they were
COVID.
out of COVID? They have a large population of the United States that might go the way of Big T if chicken tendies go down.
This was their plan the whole time.
First,
They were coming for the tenders.
well.
Yeah, COVID was the look over here.
Yep.
Real.
You know what's actually very interesting? Our exports to China. Like everyone talks about how there's so many imported goods from China to the United States. We export a lot of goods to China that are largely just agricultural. Like for example, one of our biggest exports is chicken feet to China. Yeah, and pork. U.S. agriculture hugely benefits
Chicken feet is fucking trash.
from
dog.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
My God, I went to dim sum with my girl, dog. I had never even heard of dim sum, which is fire. If y'all ain't never had it, like it's a little Chinese cuisine where they come in carts and they bring you whatever. Try chicken feet. It's shit. It is horrible. It is one of the worst things I've ever ate. It's very bad.
It's a delicacy. Let me look at
It's-
some. But
So's my stomach, nigga. That shit was the worst.
Arian, I did want to also mention that I didn't really get to say much on that, but I did want to say that I think good supply and demand is important when it comes to economy, and I think we lost a lot of that when we went into lockdown. People couldn't get cars. We lost about a third of small businesses, so that's kind of why I jumped on the question as they did do a really good job. But I did see Coley's point in certain ways, but it did really hurt our economy in terms of
Sure.
I should have thought more about small businesses, and that was a great point.
Right.
They did get fucking demolished. I was more of referencing the inflation didn't get the small businesses out of here.
Absolutely.
But that's more of a critique of government subsidies being given out, right? They'll always help bigger corporations rather than aiding small businesses, which I think that's a bipartisan thing. Honestly, I don't think that's that debatable.
Yeah, but the shutdown in general didn't allow people to support small businesses in the way that they did originally. So
Yeah,
I did think that China did a good job in that aspect of hurting our economy in that way.
Hold on. China didn't make this virus to shut down the economy, bro.
No, I know, but that's what the question was.
It could be argued
Well-
that if China was going to use it strategically, it would be to maintain and up authoritarian powers on their own people, which is, we talked about this in the China episode about how there may have been much larger social unrest in China than we know about. We just saw what was going on in Hong Kong, and the virus allowed them much more power to, keep a hold of their people.
Yeah, the original thing was if it was possible for them to use a substance like coronavirus as warfare, they definitely could, because it showed in the country that it did hurt us.
I mean, the thing is, with the way our government works,
But it hurt them too, though.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the whole point of warfare is to attack your enemies, not yourself.
But
so
it hurt their people, which is different than the CCP.
And
the CCPs,
even the people, they were back long before anywhere else was.
Yeah.
Right.
because it started there, they got to jump on it, and they listen more than we do. We think it's some government conspiracy to take away your freedms,
But
and they actually listen to government
they were
regulations.
forced
They
to.
don't,
Yeah.
they don't have much of a choice.
They were
Yeah,
kind of
it's not
locked
like
up in
they're
their
but-
it's
apartment.
not like they're attentively.
But still, I mean, it is more socially acceptable over there to wear masks
Correct. That part's
pre-COVID.
true.
That is just that, and they view it as a common courtesy, because if I have a cold, it actually does help. Masks help.
Well, they wear masks because
so
the air's horrible.
That's not the only reason why, fam.
not
They
the only
also wear masks because that is a part of it. But another reason is it's socially acceptable, because like if I'm feeling ill, it's common courtesy to not try to spread those aerosols around, and masks help prevent that. That's a part of it. It's a big part of that. That's a culture over there. Here, they think a lot of people think you're restricting freedom and like all this other bullshit. It has nothing to do with that. Like I'll continue to wear masks in crowded areas for the rest of my life. It has nothing to do with COVID anymore, because I was just uneducated on how, like, I haven't gotten sick in a long time, dog. Like, or the periods of which I've been sick have just been during the start of the pandemic to now. Like, I just don't get sick that much. It makes sense. I'm walking around with a mask. Flu season was down. Like, all of it makes sense. The data is very clear. But for some reason in America, like, we're restricting freedoms, and then we watch the homies' Facebook posts and think that that's the truth.
There is a factor that our government would never be able to take any of the actions that China did with their people, and they could see that was an advantage in itself.
What?
You know what I'm saying? So like,
No.
China knew that if there was such a pandemic, that they would have a much easier way of responding because they have so much more control over their people.
Y'all really peddling this bullshit, huh?
I'm not peddling it.
This is
Well, no,
peddling.
he's saying what you're saying.
I'm saying what
Y'all
you're saying.
agree.
That they have
No, he's not saying what I'm saying. He's saying if China was to do something, they could regulate it better.
yeah.
I'm saying they didn't do anything. This is stupid.
Okay, but in terms of them being able to control their population better than you can here, just because of the Constitution, y'all agree?
They used our freedom against us.
No, we
Hypothetically.
use our freedom against ourselves. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Like, that's the dumbest. It's stupid. We're stupid here. This is dumb. This is a dumb place. We're not smart people here. It's very dumb. We literally have conversations about like vaccinations. Like, this is a stupid place to be. This is dumb. And under the guise of freedom. Like, we argue with scientists all the time. We argue with people who give their lives to this shit. Like, it's just dumb. But there's people who don't think climate change is a real thing. This is dumb. This is a dumb place to be.
Do you think this is the only country where that happens?
I don't care. I'm talking about this place. This is a dumb place to be. This is
know-
where I live. I'm very aware of where I live.
There were roughly, speaking on Arian's mass point, roughly 2,000 cases of the flu last year compared to 38 million the year
Yeah, do y'all
prior.
believe that?
This is from the CDC. I did look up multiple sources, but
What the?
No, but I'm being serious. Hang on. Do you believe that?
I would be more
I
inclined to
believe-
believe the 2,000. Like 38 million seems like a lot. I don't know how they're getting that much information. I'm more inclined to believe the 2,000 than the 38 million.
See, my question there is, if the mask stopped the flu, why didn't they stop COVID?
It's
Well, it's a
not
different
because
disease.
it's not a cure. Okay, dog. Listen, when the CDC puts out data points, it is not an absolute number. It's a roundabout guess. It's just like poll numbers. Or it's not just like poll. It's similar to poll numbers,
Sure.
right? Where it's like we have a roundabout understanding of what is going on, and it gives you a guideline to go off of, right? That's the same thing with the CDC data and all of that, because we can't go around and survey everybody who's ever had the flu in the United States of America. It's impossible. But they give you a rough estimation,
Right.
and that's how they calculate those numbers.
But that's not what I was saying. I'm
What are you
saying
saying?
the rationale there is that nobody got the flu because everybody was wearing a mask, and yet COVID
No.
still spread rapid. No, that is
Well,
what
I mean,
they tell you.
by-
Yes,
No,
yes.
the rationale is a significantly lower percentage of people got the flu because of mask wearing. And if everybody wore masks, a significantly lower amount of people would get COVID. If people got vaccinated, a more significantly amount of people would get COVID. COVID is way more contagious than the flu. We know that. And that's why it takes vaccinations, it takes masks, it takes social distancing. They put out all of these ramifications so that people are more aware and attempt to spread it less. It's the probability of spreading it. No scientist ever says vaccinations are cures, masks are cures, social distancing is cures. What you do is you lower the probability of spread, implementing all of these things.
Yeah, and there were, I believe, I need to double check it, but I do believe last year had records for flu vaccination. So it's not just the mask. It was the combination of the two, social distancing, of course. And to your point, we have seen the coronavirus, I don't want to say cured, but we have seen people exterminate it in the sense of the NBA bubble. There was no coronavirus in the NBA bubble. There just wasn't. Like, we have seen, I don't know why people ignore it. Like, we have seen a way to get it out of not a group, but like an area. We have found a way to exterminate it, and it was only social distance and masking. Like, that was all the NBA did. They
right. That would be a fire case study, just like a think piece, right? To really understand the NBA's impact on the coronavirus on a global scale. If it wasn't for the NBA and Rudy Gobert, the shutdowns would not probably have happened in the swift way it did in America. Like, the bubble is a case study about how to be proactive about it. Like, you make a very good point, actually, because the NBA is very I think they're very forward with social issues, but I think they did a really good job on the entire pandemic.
They also donated, I remember I wrote about it, they donated, I believe, if it wasn't 100 million, like hundreds of millions of dollars to Harvard to come up with a lot that led to, was it Moderna? One of them. Like, they put a lot of money into coming up with one of the vaccines. So yeah, the NBA was on their shit with this.
And Dolly Parton.
People just ignore the
Dolly
bubble.
Parton's a legend.
Like, I don't understand. Like, the bubble worked. Like, there was no outbreak. There was no one person got it spread. Like, there was just no, and that was hundreds of people. Like, I know it's not a country, but we did see it just get eliminated for, how long were they in there? 5 months, 4 months?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was insane. And it just gets completely glossed over.
Sidebar, do you think LeBron's last title has an asterisk by it?
Of course I do.
I don't think so.
They played an they can hang it right next to those Minnesota YMCA banners that they claim too, because the Lakers have always been okay claiming fraudulent banners. So this is
watching the playoffs in every sport this year with fans. Every title that was won without fans does not count.
How do you feel about the MLB one? The Dodgers one.
It counts a little bit more, but still no, because I'm glad we didn't win that one now.
What about boxing matches with no fans?
I don't care about boxing. I don't know. I think boxing is equally as stupid with and without fans.
No, what I was trying to say is there's this study.
It's a martial art.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I don't think that sold him. I don't think he cares about martial arts either.
No.
No.
So you don't care about the history of hand-to-hand human.
I need somebody doing something with a ball or a puck. That's what I need. You've got to be trying to put it into some sort of net or like get to some sort of end zone. You got to be trying to get somewhere.
I got you.
Over a wall, 400 feet away.
Yeah.
I got you.
Just to wrap up what we were talking about before, the point I was trying to make is that there was this story where they talk about, how freedom can be used against a society. And for example, I'm probably going to butcher the story, but there was a town in Vermont that was set up, and they basically were totally founded on libertarianism. Everyone can do what they want, the idea of pure libertarianism. But then there was a bear problem, and a bunch of bears were running through everywhere. Some people were feeding the bears. Some people were trying to shoot the bears. And what they realized is that without any constructed,
regulation,
one face and one policy to deal with the bears, they were unable to have any impact on the bear problem unless they came together and not just everyone doing what they wanted to do. So that's what I'm saying is an advantage or a disadvantage when you have to deal with a national problem like coronavirus, is that if you have a policy where everyone wants to do what they want to do, it can actually end up being, the bears are going through the trash. Some people are shooting them. Some people are feeding them, and cause discourse where nothing actually ever gets done.
I agree 1,000%. It's to me, it's the fallacy in libertarian ideology. Is I think that collectivist thought or collective policies are the tax you pay for living in a society, and so are, I know libertarians hate hearing about roads, but it's the same concept. Like it's just collectivized thought. Like, and we're never gonna get it right because we don't agree on anything. But it's just geared towards diplomacy. Like, I agree, I live in a society. I'm very aware, and a lot of people don't agree with me, but I give that in order to live here. Not everything is exactly how I want in order to live in this society in a diplomatic way.
Is actually one of the most collectivist continents in the world?
Tell me, Billy.
Antarctica.
Say word.
There's no, think about it. No, this was actually one of the funniest fun facts I was going to try to bring up. There's nowhere to buy anything. There's no stores. There's no anything. Whenever you go to Antarctica, you're staying, it's a very collectivist atmosphere because everything's paid for by the government and the whole sort of thing. So just thought that'd be a nice little cherry on top of the Antarctica.
Little communistic
little
regime in Antarctica over there.
Because they can't. Money's useless there.
As it should be.
Everyone eats what's made, and everyone brings something to the table.
Mm-hmm. And because the goal of Antarctica isn't to conquer it. The goal of Antarctica, via treaty, right, is to just have a pure scientific explorative experience there. And it's collectivized from like different countries, and so nobody's trying to conquer Antarctica. Everybody's just trying to understand it, which is how we should live our lives, really. But they haven't figured that one out yet.
Is there legal ramifications if someone tried to create a government for Antarctica?
Yeah, it's a violation of the Antarctic Treaty.
Mm-hmm.
What's all in the Antarctic Treaty?
The Antarctic Treaty was the first armistice signed during the Cold War between the Russians and the United States.
Like, that's crazy that was like their first priority.
Well, it was just like something they could both agree on.
Oh.
Yeah, trying to find common
They
ground.
were like trying to start out nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody realized it was like neutral ground because you can't inhabit it. So it's like let's not have one person own it. Basically. Yeah, let's agree that this is like neutral ground, like, which is a beautiful one of the more beautiful conglomerative efforts that humans have ever done, in my opinion.
Right, because I feel like at some point, that's why I asked, like, unless there was something barring against it, someone would have just taken it over.
It was the first arms control agreement established during the Cold War, settling aside the continent as a scientific preserve, establishing freedom of scientific investigation and banning military activity. For the purpose of the treaty system, Antarctica is defined as all the land and ice shelves south of the 60-degree parallel.
Right, because there's no indigenous people that you're stealing that land from. If you were to,
penguins.
Right. But there's no
people.
Penguins are people too.
There's no Antarctican people or whatever they would be called. So
do people eat penguin meat?
Someone's definitely eating penguin.
I mean, someone.
I think some of the crimes they talked about where they abused wildlife were people just eating. Like, if you're out there and you're bored, you're like, let's cook up a penguin. What do you think tastes better, penguin or turkey?
Penguin.
You'd gamble on the penguin?
No, I think turkey.
But turkey sucks, dog. Like, it's just not good, man.
So duck's greasy?
Yeah.
And like kind of.
I feel like penguin
duck is good.
Duck's really good.
Duck is better than turkey.
Dude, think about that blubbery penguin.
But I don't know if blubber and
fat.
Well, fat. It's grease.
Fat is good. Fat is good.
So penguin actually could taste really good. Let's see if anyone has any answers on this. What does penguin taste like?
Do you think they're? Well, I guess they probably.
They also eat a lot of
fresh
whale
things.
They ate a lot of whale. Because I'm
not for that. I think whales are smart as shit. I don't think you should kill animals that are smart. Like dogs, fuck them. Cats, fuck them.
Oh, dude.
Dogs are smart. Fuck you.
Dogs are not smart. Dogs are dumb as shit.
Dogs are really smart. My dog's
you're
smart.
dumb.
Dogs are not smart. You think a dog is smart, then you're dumb.
I can shake hands with a dog.
Dumb dogs are easier to train.
That wasn't the best argument.
Dogs do what they're told to do if you feed them. That's just survival. This is smart.
I can still shake
Okay,
hands.
what do penguins taste like?
Are you on the Grub Street article?
Polarchristian.com.
Oh.
So basically, Captain Cook ate penguins, and basically he said they tasted like a piece of beef, odoriferous codfish, and canvasback duck roasted together in a pot with blood and cod liver oil for sauce. Huh.
That's a lot of different flavors.
So
running through my head right now.
I'll take two.
Modern so people, they ran out of food once at a certain research facility, and they had to eat some penguins, and they said they tasted like oily chicken.
I'm with it. Penguin. It sounds like a penguin would be good. It's a bird, right? It's like a bird. Are penguins birds? No,
Yeah.
they're not birds. Are they birds?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're birds. They have wings. They just can't fly.
Aquatic birds.
So they're very. I mean, that's similar to
Actually,
turkey.
I bet penguins taste freaking good.
Oh. Well, I guess if they have a good, like, if they're eating like fish and all of.
I would
the
much rather
fresh
have
things.
I'd much rather have a penguin than a turkey. I don't even know what penguin tastes. Turkey's trash.
I would
But-
like to see both deep fried and see what the results are.
I have a feeling that OG turkey, like turkey you see at the side of the road, not like this, not genetically modified, but selectively bred turkeys for more meat and more. Breast
I like
meat.
what you did there.
Yeah. But I feel like they might taste like the old, like wild turkeys, I think probably tasted better than.
So interesting enough, so my stepdad is like I said, he's a PhD geneticist, and he actually bred one of the. Did I tell you all this already?
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, so he bred one of the first lines of Tyson chickens,
Oh wow.
and so like he's responsible for the way chickens are bred in America right now. He's a fucking
That's
OG.
awesome.
Yeah, he's dope.
Well, I think he probably have a huge sort of take on why turkeys might not taste as good. He would be actually the guy to figure out, how do we make turkey taste better? Like it needs a little more grease to it, like not just like dry meat.
He would know how he always talks about how like how you selectively breed the chickens, like, and how you wean out the whatever, like that was his bag. I mean,
yeah, because rotisserie chicken tastes amazing. Like chicken, like is a little greasier than turkey. I'd say tastes a lot better. Like I bet a Tyson chicken tastes like really good.
I wouldn't even say greasy because I don't consider chicken greasy. I would think I think the way that we cook chicken versus the way we cook turkey, it's like moister. I don't think. I mean, fried chicken, yeah, but I don't think rotisserie chicken is. Is
there such thing as a rotisserie turkey?
I feel like there has to be.
I have no idea.
Let's check that out. Yeah, rotisserie turkey. I think that's the best way to do it.
No, I think we just stop killing turkeys. They're not good.
Wild
Start
turkeys.
killing. I'd rather them
Penguins.
anything. Yeah, let's substitute, or just brisket in general. Like I said, if you substitute brisket for turkey for Thanksgiving, like I'm a happy dude, bro.
Brisket is a huge effort to make.
Oh yeah, that's why it tastes better.
Yeah,
So much involved.
But that's the thing. Turkey's not even like the easiest to make. Like, even like a bad turkey still took time and effort. Right. That's why it's.
They throw it in the oven 3-4 hours, 5 hours.
But I think
whatever.
that's.
It's all right. I think like brisket, you gotta care about what you're doing. You gotta prepare it. You gotta smoke it. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? There's so much more. It's more of a process.
Definitely more. But I'm saying like a turkey's not like steak. You can just season a little bit, toss it on, and out. Like there's more to making a turkey, and it's still not good. It's not worth the effort.
I'm with you.
Maybe, but the thing is, maybe if brisket becomes the main food choice, then we just get a lot more bad brisket, and then people think brisket is trash. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Because the only people who attempt to make brisket are people who know how to do brisket. Like, I would never attempt to cook a brisket. I have no idea how exactly to do it right.
I know how. I just don't think I can execute. Like, I've watched. Remember we were talking about like everybody's little quirks that they just went down on a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I got obsessed with watching brisket cooking videos. Like, so I know what to do. I just don't think I can execute. Like, that's just not easy though. Because like, it's more about understanding how to stoke and maintain a fire. Like, it's more about that than it is actually cooking a brisket. And like that's a science in itself, and then depending on like what kind of wood you use, like all that shit matters. So it's like, it's a science actually.
That's my
Speaking of which, there's this interesting little factoid that the wood, I'm a butcher, but like the wood that is used actually molecularly interacts with the meat, and yeah, it's wild. The way that they explained it. Like I said, I'm not doing it any justice, but so back in the early days when they was first starting to like cook meat, like there's no way they would have known that, but the fact that actually changes the I don't know if it changes the composition, but it definitely enhances the flavor in a very like they explained it in a very good way. I'll come back to that, but it's really just look into that. That's a really dope thing.
Quick update on the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Federal agents and NYPD officers raided the home in July of 2019 on the sex trafficking arrest of Epstein, and they said they found hundreds of images of nude underage girls stashed inside a safe.
Jesus. Oh, so it's here.
Legit. Yep.
Oh, it's here.
It's here.
That place that they actually raided, the townhouse is a regular townhouse, but had 40 bedrooms, 40 bedrooms.
Like underneath, like bunkers type,
like hotel type stuff, which is very weird.
Like the townhouse in New York?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it had a big place with. This is in a Vanity Fair article, I think. And he had one control room with a camera in all those rooms.
Like they do it like a casino.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Creepy.
Yo, this shit finna be wide open though. You know what? I am excited about this, dog. Cause let's get these niggas all above the streets. I'm with this.
Facts.
I think it's. I guess I'm talking myself out of my own point, but I think it's crazy that there can be reporters reporting on it live in real time, but they can't have cameras. But I guess we talked about this last week, and it's because the cameras fuck with everything. But like, it's not like we don't know what's going on at all.
Yeah, I think it just influences too many people inside of the courtroom.
Right. Yeah.
It's probably. I think this is the best way to do a trial.
If you're a juror, I mean, no juror would want to be on it if there was.
Right.
I mean, it's not like because of the nature of the trial thing. It's just a federal court thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, how do they pick a jury in a trial like this when it's like everyone has heard of it?
It's hard.
Sourcing.
That's the case in a lot of high-profile trials.
Interview biases. There's no way to.
Like, I feel like they genuinely have to have people like Billy, me, Big T's age for a lot of it because we weren't alive for the 90s for when Epstein was everywhere.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Nah.
But Billy
but like
said,
the thing is, they also would be like, "Have you heard about the case?"
Right.
And then
guys
everyone, my age is like, "Yeah, I've heard
Epstein
a lot about
didn't kill
it.
himself."
I've been internet like I've been.
I don't think that would be a. I would highly doubt that. Have you heard about the case would be a prerequisite for you being on this kind of case. Like I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who hasn't heard about the Epstein case.
Right. Billy would be Billy if Billy was picked to be a juror. He'd be like, "Sorry, I'm an internet anthropologist. I can't be on this case."
I can't be on any case.
That's Billy's like cop out for jury duty for the next.
By the way, I'm actually on another point. It is huge that the kid in Michigan was tried with terrorism.
Yeah.
Because then they can investigate all of his online presence and see if there's. Because I literally think there's like.
What kid,
What
Michigan?
are you talking about?
The shooter.
The shooter from the Oxford.
Oh,
shooting.
yeah.
Because
I'm not hip. I was kind of out the loop. What happened?
Yeah, basically
There was a school shooting in Michigan last
Mm-hmm.
week.
and they can investigate him for terrorism, and which means all the online chat rooms that he may have been participating in that may have radicalized him.
Why can't they
take a guess about what he's visiting?
Why can't they investigate
I
that
know.
anyway?
Because you need like a terrorist charge to
How
like, because then it falls under the Patriot Act, then they can like go after all of his stuff.
How did they charge him with that though? Because
It
I
was
mean,
a terrorist. Like
just because he shot up.
What
a school?
terrorism is defined, from my understanding, terrorism is defined as like a politically driven motive, right?
yeah.
Okay.
This guy had
Generally,
a huge
like for
online
the
presence.
textbook definition of it, but I think if we're charging somebody with it, you don't have to. That's not like a prerequisite thing for it.
If you guys haven't noticed, I dyed the tips of my hair invisible recently. Just kidding, that's a bad joke. I went to Sport Clips. Sport Clips is the best place for a guy to get his hair done. You do not want to be going to your grandmother's salon or your mother's barbershop. You want to go to Sport Clips. They get guys' hair right. If you want a mullet or just want to get your cowlick fixed, or if you have a patchy beard, These guys know how to deal with those complex hair problems. Sport clip stylists are experts in men's hair. Cutting men's hair can be harder than women's hair, and sport clip stylists are specifically trained to cut men's hair. They know the tips and tricks for making sure guys get the best cut to suit their facial shape, hair texture, and lifestyle. Remember, you can go to grandma's for the holidays, but not where she cuts her hair. Sport clips, the pros in men's hair.
Yeah, I don't know about the charge, but I
Yes,
knew
the
in order to be
textbook-
labeled a terrorist.
Yes, the
in
textbook
America.
definition of terrorism is like violence for a political motive.
Yeah,
And his
yeah.
parents are being charged.
Yeah, the whole situation is sketchy.
It's crazy.
I'm weird. The parents being charged. Were they implicit? Like, did they know?
Well, it was the
Certainly
dad.
seems
The
that
dad
way.
bought
Kind of,
the
yeah.
gun for the son, and the son's 15, and so he couldn't have access to a firearm.
Yeah,
The
that
mom
shit
texted
dumb.
him, "Don't do it" or something.
So
that morning.
the way I
you heard
understand
that?
it,
I didn't know about
yeah.
that.
So they got called down to the school. I think that morning.
Yeah,
if
that
I'm
morning
not
for
mistaken.
behavioral issues.
Yeah, he was acting bad, and they called them down. And then, like, the parents left the school, and the mom texted him, "Don't do it" or something, and then he killed
Did it?
4 people.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I mean, they didn't think he had a gun on him at the time, so they sent him back to class because the school officials were like, we shouldn't send this kid home because if he goes home, he might come back with, like, weapons. So it's better just to put him in class and have him home alone. This whole situation is crazy.
Parents were already at the school. They should have just had them take him. Like, I don't.
know. More's coming out, but
Well,
For
and
sure, yeah,
He
I
couldn't.
mean-
he can't drive. He's 15.
yeah, I don't know.
That's insane. I'm glad they're trying him as an adult though.
Yeah. Crazy.
Jeez.
We live in a crazy world.
Fuck that dude.
You're talking about how the Epsteins got all their money too. There was also something that said that they had a J.P. Morgan executive, Patrick McHugh, on the trial, and there was a transaction on her account on October 19th, 1999, that showed $18.3 million wired into her account, into her Bear Stearns account.
Ooh,
From where?
I think it came from Jeffrey. So he was like wiring money back and forth. There were multiple counts of it. I see there's also an additional $5 million that was funneled to Maxwell in 2002 from Epstein. So it seemed like maybe he was funneling her money as well. I don't know if it was for what she
Jesus.
was doing or there's so much involved. We have to do a full episode on this.
Did we find out what her actual charge was?
Yeah, it was all connected. So I said it earlier. There was 4 abusers or 4 victims of the abuse that are charging her, and they're like basically dealing with minors and intent for sexual acts of a minor, and traveling
she was
with a
an
minor,
accomplice.
all minor stuff. Yeah, it's basically being an accomplice to Jeffrey Epstein when you boil it down. But it's six charges related to child sex acts.
That's crazy. That shit just blows my mind. How you just want to
Can you can't get the death
emasculate children?
you
No, I
can't
don't
get
think
the death penalty because you didn't kill anyone.
Nah, I don't believe in the death penalty anyway. That shit dumb.
Neither do I, but I was just wondering.
Hmm.
Also, is the death penalty a thing in New York?
Just they do capital punishment?
Not in New York.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
I
Well,
was
because
gonna
she's getting
say,
charged. in New York.
Anywhere, definitely.
You said what?
Anywhere, definitely. No, New York, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was asking. Well, because her trial's here. That's so sad.
Oh, she got formally charged in New York.
She's right down the street. No, it's not right down the street, but her courtroom is here. Or her trial's here. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, but it's a federal trial.
Right.
Ah, okay. Federal crime.
I also
she-
think that's
she went out
crazy
there.
that one of the that's just happening in the same place we are.
Yeah.
Why
Where
do you
is
think I'm trying to do like
There's a lot
deals
happening.
with her?
But then there was also like the coroner resigned the first day of the trial. The New York City coroner who was supposed to look at Epstein's body and apparently
I did see that.
resigned the first day of the.
Did you
Yeah.
also see that Jack Dorsey also resigned the same day that it started?
There were several big CEOs who
Yeah.
resigned
Yeah.
the day it started.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like there was, I think, 4 or 8 major CEO or CFOs of
stepped
large
down.
corporations that stepped down the first day of her trial.
Yeah, it's getting weird.
That shit's fucking crazy,
I
though.
mean,
Yeah, it's a tough day to do it. That
Right.
wait a day, like do it a day early. Like don't do it the same day.
The same
they
day.
probably all got notified if they were involved in evidence, right?
Oh, they know.
Also,
Yeah,
Alec
I'm
Baldwin
sure
just
they
deleted his
assume.
Twitter account.
No shit.
I
Yep.
thought he did that earlier.
Alec Baldwin. Nope.
Today?
He just did it. Yeah, today.
I thought he deleted it like 2 days. Like,
Nope. They just said that he did it today.
This shit finna be like one of the trials of the century.
well, the thing is, I who knows how much will be stifled because she's also wanting to release the name of all the witnesses who are coming forward.
She wants to.
Jelaine, yeah.
To get
Why the
people off
fuck?
her back. And be like, well,
No,
I'm not the
well,
only one. Right?
Or she wants to release the name of the witnesses of.
Who are speaking out
The-
against her. Yeah.
Like the world
Why would she
elites.
do that? Oh.
So that the people know who's
That they can
fessing
also
up.
they can also be charged. Or,
Oh, saying I know she. Oh, yeah. Well, fuck it. I'm with it. That's fucked up, man.
we gotta do this episode.
yeah.
It's just tough because like it's a lot of speculation right now.
But we can do the Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we'll know so much more by next week too.
All right, we'll kick it around. We'll kick it around in the group, man. Anybody got anything else on Antarctica?
Let's check this out. Oh, there's a subglacial blood red lake that's caused by oxidation. It's pretty cool.
That
That-
is cool, Billy.
That people saw in like the 70s and were like, it's a river of blood in Antarctica.
Yeah, that's
But-
pretty wild.
Yeah, it's called Blood Falls, is an outflow of iron oxide tainted plume of salt water flowing from the tongue of Taylor Glacier into the ice-covered surface of West Lake Boney in the Taylor Valley of the McMurdo Dry Valleys in Victoria Land. Crazy. What else is there?
Nazis.
You guys want to hear more? Yeah, people think that the Nazis went to Antarctica. They did explore it, but there's no Nazi bunker there that Hitler went to after the war. Here's some more
don't know.
crime. Some dude got poisoned in Antarctica in May of 2000, and they don't know if he'd been poisoned by someone there or just was secondhand poisoned. So he died of methanol poisoning. The poisoning occurred remains a mystery. Then there was a bunch of fights. All these Russian dudes are getting into fights at these research facilities. That's like the biggest crime in Antarctica is Russian researchers beating each other up for various small skirmishes. But yeah, that's all I got.
Billy, we appreciate your fact riddled episode, man. I do appreciate the spreadsheets you do, and you're right that we do need to implement facts a little bit more. So I appreciate that, man. It remains to be seen if PFT is alive or not. So we hope to have more information on that. Billy, you have anything to say about his whereabouts?
He may be a juror on a high
He may be
High-
gone for the next couple of weeks. In relations.
profile trial.
Can you imagine?
It's crazy that they have just random New Yorkers on this jury.
Right. They could have the Bing Bong guy
Yeah.
on the jury for this case. I mean, technically, it's like in the same jurisdiction, wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Crazy.
I
I think that should. This is a hot take. I think jurors should be a government position.
Like a profession.
You go to school and you study evidence and you study body
Well, you
language.
can-
I guess it.
You can ask for a bench trial. Then you're
What is
getting
it?
Just a
What's
judge.
that?
you waive your right to a jury and the judge decides.
Yeah, no, I'm cool off of that. I was talking about a jury.
I know, but I'm saying you can get something similar to that.
Because the sentencing has been biased, right? I don't trust just I wouldn't trust my life in a judge's hands.
See, I think if it was a crime that I didn't do, I would want a bench trial. If it was a crime that I did do, I would want a jury trial.
That's interesting.
What I'm saying is, yeah, you for sure. What I'm saying is a jury trial, right? With somebody who, like, let's live in my utopia for a second. There's juries that go to you got to go through like a real certification class, and there's time, and it's a paid position, right? So you go to work every day for jury trials, and you understand court terminology, you understand evidence, you understand, you know what I'm saying? So you see cases. I think over time you would have a more accurate sentencing structure than acquittal rate than not acquittal. What am I thinking?
Sentencing?
I think it would be sentencing. You would have it would be more accurate guilty versus non-guilty than you have now of people who are just regular average citizens hearing the shit out when you have an expertise in the field, right? Which you would basically be becoming. I think over time it would be more accurate rather than having randos.
I can't wait to get called on to jury duty.
Me too. I've been waiting for years, dog.
Don't tell them that, because they will send you straight home.
Holla at me. Hey, government, holla at me. I want to be on a jury case, dog.
Me
Preferably a high profile
That's
one.
exactly the people they don't want doing it.
Fuck them. I'm one of the best. I am non-biased when it comes to jury shit.
Not even
They're sending you home immediately.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it's like. Not even to. I don't want to like ruin someone's life or sentence someone to life in prison. I just want to see. I've never been in a courtroom. I kind of want to just see what it's like.
I actually have a crazy story.
Oh.
So the first time I got selected for jury duty.
You've been selected more than once?
Yeah. But I pushed it off.
Oh.
But then I finally actually had to go down. It was on spring break of 2019 because you go back. They time it so it's on your break nowadays for college kids. It was the first day of the Harvey Weinstein trial when they're selecting juries for him. I don't know if that's when they were selecting the juries. I gotta check if it was that day, but I'll show you guys my jury slip. Like, and it was at the same court because it was when I still had in New York City.
So you thought you think you got screened for that?
Yeah, I think I could have gotten. I don't know exactly. We can look up the specifics, but it was pretty wild. I have Snapchats to prove it.
Of course you'd put it on Snapchat. Fucking.
Well, it's like my Snapchat.
Would they call you a Zoomer? Are you a Zoomer?
Yeah, or who knows? What was here? Let me find out the specifics. But it was kind of wild, and I was like, but also I was told like try not to get on the jury because I then wouldn't be able to go to school if it was that super long trial. But weird.
Who cares? You miss a month of school to be on the jury for Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, but then like I wouldn't graduate on time.
Oh God.
That would have a story to tell your kids.
That would have been crazy.
It wasn't spring. It was
Philly football showed up on the Harvey Weinstein jury.
It was actually, I may have gotten the date wrong. I think it was actually winter break, not spring break.
You motherfucker, Billy.
The fall of 2019. Let me find the exact date. I just remember I pushed it off.
I believe.
Figure it out.
I promise I believe.
Not that pivotal to the story.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else, man?
Should we, since we don't have an agreed upon structure for Macrodosing, push voicemails to Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We're already at 2:48.
Yeah, that sounds like a viable.
And then PFT should be there, right, Billy?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah,
if he's
hopefully
alive or
if
not.
he's found.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Y'all, for everybody listening out there, man, y'all
If you guys
send
see
your
a
prayers.
long-haired man with sunglasses on.
Send your prayers to whatever God you're praying to, that PFT's okay, because Billy came ready today. So, all right, man. If everybody has anything else, man, we wrap it up. Bet. Well, thank you or Billy, you want to take us out, man? Since you took PFT out.
Thanks for everybody listening to Macrodosing. Do not worry about PFT's whereabouts.
You might have wanted to deny that.
He's fine. Trust me. Thanks for listening, and love you guys.